Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Navigation. Luffy, the son-in-law of all nations, started from taking concubines. Chapter 31. Sirop Village, Cliffside. Luffy stood on the cliff, facing the sea, and told Usopp about his father. When I was very young, I met your dad on Shanks' ship. Your dad was a Shinso player. Shanks, I heard that he is a big pirate. It is said that even if there is an ant standing far away, he can shoot it. Luffy made a pistol gesture. He said that he has a son who is about my age. I think he is talking about you. He said that he himself was a failed father and a failed husband. But he has no regrets. If he had another chance, he would still choose to board Shanks' pirate ship in order to pursue his dream. He's been trying to say sorry to you, Usopp. It's my mother he's sorry for. Usopp cried. So, you go to sea with me, and then you can say what you want to your father. Luffy looked at Usopp and said, I promise you, but I'm weak. Usopp said, you become stronger when you are weak. Will you always be so weak? Luffy said confidently. Shish, it seems someone is coming, let's get down. Luffy said to Usopp. Look, isn't that Kaya's butler? The butler seems to be saying something. What? The butler is Captain Crow of the Black Cat Pirates. Isn't he already dead? He wants to hypnosis Kaya first, make her write a suicide note, rob her of her property, and then kill her. What? They are planning to attack this village. No, I have to tell the rest of the village. The Black Cat Pirates are here. Wait, Usopp. Luffy tried to stop him from behind. Usopp ran back to the village and started shouting at the entrance of the village that pirates were about to attack the village. Captain Crow of the Black Cat Pirates wants to kill the entire village, so everyone should run away. It's a pity that because Usopp usually lies too much, no one in the village believed him this time, including Miss Kaya. Usopp was driven out of the village by everyone and could only run to the cliff to ask for help from Luffy and his group. After everyone discussed it, they decided to divide their forces. Zoro and Kuina each guard an entrance. Nami and Usopp guard the same entrance. Luffy goes to find Kaya to reveal Crow's true face. That day, the dark group of Black Cat Pirates, under the command of their captain Zangao, are preparing to attack Sirop Village. Looking at the densely packed pirates, Nami and Usopp looked at each other. What's going on? Why are all the pirates coming here? Is there any mistake? So outrageous. Help. Nami looked up to the sky and cried. ... Zoro breathed a sigh of relief and looked at the entrance of the village. No one has come for so long. Did they change the date? The other side. Kuina stood there leaning on her sword for a long time before she realized that the enemy was not attacking in this direction. He quickly ran to find Zoro, the road idiot. ... On the other hand, Luffy ran directly to Kaya to live in a mansion, climbed over walls and climbed through windows. Over the years, in order to chase Sister Makino, he had already maxed out his skills in climbing over walls and windows. There was no fuss during the meeting, and the recording of the phone bug was played directly to Kaya. After hearing the whole plan of Butler Crow, Kaya turned pale and couldn't believe it. She doesn't believe, even if the evidence is right in front of her, that Butler Locke, who has taken care of her for so long, is a bad person. Still want to kill her. Kaya covered her mouth and ran out of the room, stumbling along the way, knocking on doors everywhere to find her other housekeeper, Mr. Meili. It wasn't until she opened a room that she found Mr. Meili lying in a pool of blood. Miss Kaya, run away. It's Crow. He is the captain of the Black Cat Pirates. He wants to kill you and the whole village. Run away. Mr. Mary, who was in a dying state, held Kaya in his hand, using his last strength to say. Kaya slumped on the ground weakly, accepting this cruel reality. Escape. Where to escape? What other villagers in the village did? The Black Cat Pirates are pirates who have killed countless people. Kaya seemed to hear that the Black Cat Pirates were looting, killing and setting fires everywhere in Sirop Village. The sound of the dark bedroom was illuminated by the light from the open window. Luffy lay on the window and said to Kaya with a smile, are you willing to have a baby with me? I can help you. Kaya wiped the tears on her face and said to Luffy, if you can really protect me and Sirop Village from now on, and at the same time you can send Captain Locke to prison, I will promise you. It's a deal. ... Wait until Kuina takes Zoro. It was finally time to arrive at the entrance of Usopp and Nami Mamoru. The battlefield was in a mess. Usopp was beaten to a bloody head, but he still held on to a pirate's ankle with his hands, tightly entangled with the progress of the Black Cat pirates. Nami was praised, injured by his ring knife, and then kicked aside and unable to move. 2 more people are here. It's really endless. Kill them quickly, otherwise Captain Crow will kill us all, said Zangao with love glasses. Come on. A dense crowd of Black Cat pirates swarmed up. Shimotsuki flow. Flash. Kuina pulled out the word Wado Ichiman, and like a white light, rushed into the crowd of the Black Cat pirates, turning on the Musou mode. This chick is so powerful. Brother Sam and Butch Black Cat, why don't you go up and kill this chick? Do you want us to be killed by Captain Crow? Zoro tied up the green turban and sneered. You have no idea what Santo Ryu is. Free sword style. Tiger hunting. As soon as the Black Cat brothers Sam and Butch rushed forward, they were killed by Zoro. As the ace of the Black Cat pirates, he was killed without even using his skills. This is a miserable word to describe. So are they so strong? Usopp opened his eyes wide and said while lying on the ground. Sam, the fat cat of the Black Cat brothers, was not willing to fail. He got up and called him hypnosis to make him stronger. Shimotsuki flow. 2 flash swallows return. Before Zangao could reach hypnosis, the 2 of them were instantly killed by Kuina. Only a fool would give the enemy, hypnosis, time to strengthen his teammates. Kuina said, sheathing Wado Yamanji. The Black Cat brothers, the ace of the Black Cat pirates, are very powerful and have been domineering in East Blue for a long time. However, it was still not good enough in front of Zoro and Kuina, and they were defeated in 1 move. A bunch of losers. I've obviously made such a thorough plan, but even if it goes according to plan, it will fail. Now I still need to do it myself. Crow belatedly arrived from behind the hillside and saw Usopp, whom he hated most. Crow calmly put on his weapon, cat hand sword. Whoosh. Crow appeared in front of Usopp and kicked him away. This kind of rubbish can hinder my plan. The Black Cat pirates really have less and less meaning to exist. This man is so fast and can't be seen at all. It seems that this man is a master. Kuina stared at Captain Locke and said to Zoro. It's indeed different from the previous character. Zoro also began to be cautious. This group of trash, and you group of trash, there is no need to live. Crow held up his glasses with his hands, glanced at the Black Cat pirates, then looked at Zoro and Kuina, saying coldly. Silent step. Dip to death. Captain Locke's signature skill is to use a speed close to shaving, and cooperate with the cat hand to attack everyone indiscriminately. Captain Locke just disappeared in front of everyone. The Black Cat pirates on the field were injured one after another. For a while, Kuina and Zoro couldn't think of any way to crack it, so they could only use sword skills to protect the safety of Nami and Usopp. Rubber machine gun. Luffy rushed to the scene and used a machine gun to knock Captain Crow out of his silent walking state. Who are you? Why are you here to hinder me? Captain Crow raised his glasses and asked Luffy. My name is Luffy, the man who will become the Pirate King in the future, because there are people in this village that I want to protect. Luffy responded to Crow. Am I the person Luffy is talking about? Kaya was hiding in the woods, blushing shyly. Pirate King. It's ridiculous. All these unknown people actually come to challenge my trick, Captain Crow. I really don't know whether to live or die. Captain Crow sneered. Silent step. Dip to death. Captain Crow attacked Luffy and others indiscriminately at a faster speed than before. It's useless. I will defeat you with my own hands and send you to Marine Base to be locked up. Rubber machine gun. Captain Crow was beaten out by Luffy again, and was released from the invisible state of the silent step. Rubber whip. Before Captain Crow could react, he was kicked away by Luffy and hit the edge of the cliff. After a set of combos, Captain Crow had no chance to react and was beaten throughout. Rubber clock. In the end, Luffy used a headbutt to directly defeat Captain Crow. Tie them all up, and we'll go to Marine Base to exchange money later. Luffy stepped on Captain Crow with his foot and said arrogantly. Money. Change money. You can't be hurt in vain. Nami opened her eyes, and when she talked about money, Nami became energetic. Nami, are you injured? Kaya, come here and take a look, there are injured people here. Luffy became worried when he saw that Nami was injured. I'm hurt too, why no one cares about me? Usopp said alone with tears. The affairs of the Black Cat pirates came to a perfect end. From the former captain to the current captain, the two main forces and a bunch of pirate members were all arrested. This level of business is enough to put Marine to shame. Zoro tied up all the members of the Black Cat pirates and prepared to exchange them for money. He is very skilled in this business. He was a famous gold medal pirate hunter before. Catch pirates, tie up pirates, and take them to Marine base to exchange for money. Everyone praises the one-stop service. Kuina carried Nami onto the Goa Queen, while Usopp and Luffy directly tied up the Goa Queen with rubber arms. Put the two of them in the infirmary and let Kaya perform simple hemostasis, suturing, treatment, and bandaging. Kaya was frail and sick since she was a child, so she taught herself medical skills. Although she was not very skilled, she was still able to treat the two of them. Then, Luffy announced to the two vice-captains Zoro and Kuina that the pirate group has two new members, one is the sniper Usopp, and the other is the ship's doctor Kaya. Are you sure you want to lure this rich lady to work as a ship's doctor on your ship? Kuina said to Luffy angrily. I've tricked her, she's already agreed, and we're short of a ship's doctor. Luffy argued. Haha, was it the first day I met you? I wouldn't know what you were thinking. Kuina rolled her eyes at Luffy. Kuina, are you jealous? Oh, I'm so happy. Luffy felt delighted. Believe it or not, I will kill you. You big pervert captain, Kuina said to Luffy. I have no objection. I'm going out first. You continue. Zoro saw the two of them showing off their affection in front of him. He couldn't bear it and decided to leave. Wait a minute, Zoro, you will escort the Black Cat pirates to Marine base later. You are familiar with this business. One more thing. Kaya also sent us a Going Merry. This ship is temporarily in charge of Zoro, your deputy captain. After Luffy arranged things, he went to the infirmary to check on Nami and Usopp. As a captain, he cared about his crew very much. Goa Queen, Infirmary. The infirmary of the Goa Queen is not particularly large, but it is well equipped. Basic medicines are available, as well as many medical books by court doctors. After all, they were originally prepared by the royal court doctors of the kingdom. Luffy checked with Kaya and went into the infirmary to check on Nami's condition. Nami, how are you? Fortunately, it's just a small wound. Luffy asked with concern. Small wound, I'm just an ordinary person. I'm not as seriously injured as you. I can just sleep and be fine. Nami jumped in anger at Luffy's words. It's okay, it's okay. In fact, I also know a little bit about medical skills. Let me check it for you. Luffy said to Nami with a smile. HMPH, you still know a little bit about medical skills. Am I not clear about what you want to do? Don't try to do anything. Are you checking your body? Are you going to check your body? Get out. Luffy had no temper at all when Nami scolded him, so he left angrily to visit another crew member, Usopp. Usopp was lying on the hospital bed. Although he was tied with a bunch of bandages, he was smiling and his eyes were full of hope for the future life, because these bandages were tied by his childhood sweetheart, Miss Kaya. Luffy looked at this, and suddenly felt that his remaining conscience ached a little, and felt that he should give Usopp some compensation. Usopp, I feel relieved to see you in such good spirits. Luffy sat on the round chair and said to Usopp. It's Luffy. I'm a brave sea warrior. I'm not afraid of pain. Usopp said with a smile. I heard from Kaya that she also joined your pirate ship, Luffy. Became the ship's doctor. Usopp's eyes were so bright at this moment that Luffy couldn't open his eyes. Get on the ship. Kaya hasn't officially boarded my pirate ship yet. Luffy said, rolling his eyes. By the way, Usopp, you are now my official crew member, and I can't hide anything from you anymore. Actually, your father and I know each other. Luffy said to Usopp. I know, you said it last time. Usopp said. No, you don't know. Luffy patted Usopp on the shoulder and said to Usopp. Actually, your father and I are sworn brothers. Technically speaking, you should call me uncle. Do you understand? Uncle, Usopp said in surprise. Yes, my good nephew. Uncle, I'll give you a gift. Take it. Luffy took out a big fruit from his crotch. This is. Usopp looked at this strange-looking fruit. This is devil fruit. I don't want you to recognize your uncle for nothing. This is a gift from your uncle. Luffy said without changing his expression. The legendary devil fruit. Thank you, Uncle. Usopp was very happy. Then Luffy walked out of the infirmary with peace of mind. The Goa Queen docked at Sirop village to replenish supplies. After the meal, everyone dispersed and did their own thing. As the captain, Luffy takes care of the new member of the ship, Kaya. Kaya stood on the Queen, looking back towards Sirop village. What's wrong, Kaya, are you reluctant to leave here? Luffy said to Kaya. It's a little sentimental. This is the hometown where I grew up. Before I leave, I want to see it a few more times. Kaya smoothed her hair that was blown by the sea breeze with her hands. Actually, Luffy, I'm very grateful to you. But as you know, my body can really accompany you to the sea. Kaya said cautiously. Of course, I will protect you, and you can slowly learn medical skills on the Great Waterway. Luffy hugged Kaya's waist from behind. Luffy, did you know? In fact, 80% of the land on the island of Sirop village belongs to my family. Kaya pointed at Sirop village and said very proudly. Oh, it turns out you are such a rich lady, and I am a poor boy. Luffy said happily. Not a word was mentioned about the fact that the kingdom of Goa had fallen into his hands. I have made arrangements. I will accompany you on your adventure, and the butler Mr. Melly will stay to manage my manor and land. Kaya stretched her hands and said. Thank you, Kaya. Not only did you come to help me, but you also gave me 300 million belly. Luffy said to Kaya affectionately. Now you're saying this. How annoying. Kaya, are you willing to give me? Kaya blushed and nodded. Please be gentle. Luffy was so happy that the delicate and sickly beauty Miss Kaya was carried into the master bedroom by Luffy in a princess hug. Kaya. So, yeah. Usopp, originally holding a bouquet of flowers excitedly, wanted to find Kaya, but he saw Princess Luffy hugging Kaya. Usopp was caught off guard, and by some strange mistake, he hid aside and stood there in a daze. Usopp heard Luffy and Kaya getting closer. The sound of the room door opening. The sound of the room door closing. Kaya's beautiful voice. The empty deck. Usopp was left alone facing the sea, messy in the wind. Luffy's previous words were still ringing in his ears. Actually, Dad and I are brothers. You have to call me uncle. Usopp said to himself, facing the long-nosed reflection on the sea. I'm holding flowers in my hand, I wanted to surprise you. He must love you very much. Unlike me, I only know how to brag and lie to you. I shouldn't be in the boat, I should be at the bottom of the ocean. It only takes a minute for a dream to be shattered. I shouldn't be in the boat, I should be at the bottom of the ocean. I didn't expect it. My childhood sweetheart, who I have had a crush on for many years, is my aunt. Woohoo. Goa Queen, restaurant. It's a meeting, everyone, please sit down. Luffy called from the side. Zoro sat wiping his knife. Kuina held the sword and leaned against the wall with her eyes closed to relax. Kaya carefully sat on the chair next to the dining table to reduce some discomfort after exercise. Usopp, shrugging his shoulders listlessly, lowered his head, counting the petals in his hands. Nami was lying on the table, wondering what she was thinking. Luffy glanced at the entire crew and continued. The first thing is that we have to escort the Black Cat pirates to Marine Base to exchange money. The main people in charge are Deputy Captain Zoro and Navigator Nami. No problem, Zoro and Nami replied. The second thing is we need chefs. On long journeys, we need a chef who can cook delicious food while balancing our nutritional needs. I also have the target candidate. Now, let's go to Marine Base to exchange the money. Agreed. All members agreed unanimously. Since there is no objection. Set off. Goa Queen and Going Merry sailed back to Shieldstown first, and Zoro took Nami to Marine Base. Because of the Zoro Grandmaster business, everything is fast. Captain Crow has 16 million Baileys, Zangao has 9 million Baileys, and the Black Cat brothers have a total of 14 million Baileys, plus the big and small minions. Black Cat and his gang came back in exchange for 50 million Baileys. As for the Black Cat pirates Hyakuj Braku, Nami bargained for it in exchange for 40 million Baileys. A total of 90 million belly. Nami flew up happily and followed Luffy, making money much faster than she could on her own. First, it was 5 million belly from the buggy pirates, and now it is 90 million belly. But compared to the 300 million belly that Kaya brought on board, it was nothing. Everyone happily set sail to Baratie, a restaurant on the sea. On the way, they met Zoro's former little brothers, Johnny and Joseph. For Zoro's sake, Luffy let them go on going merry. After sailing for a while, they finally saw the sea restaurant with a huge fish head and tail. It's a very spectacular ship. Hey, this restaurant is really big. Let's go over and have a look. Kuina rarely showed a girlish heart. I want to have a big meal. Only a big meal can heal the scars in my soul. Usopp regained some energy when he saw the big restaurant. Usopp is right. Anyway, we just made a lot of money, let's go have a big dinner. Nami encouraged Luffy from the side. Can we go together? We want a big meal too. Johnny and Joseph. Okay, as the captain, I agree to have a big meal. Luffy also cheered when he mentioned eating. I have no objection. The only thing is, when Luffy eats, don't give him something too expensive. Zoro complained. Yes, he ate too much alone. Nami nodded in response. Why are you like this? Luffy said unhappily. Hee, you guys are so funny. Kaya laughed. A group of people went to the Baratie restaurant to fight like this. Don't waste food. Sanji was holding a cigarette in his mouth, holding up a customer's collar, and warned him fiercely. If I'm not mistaken, I think I saw that one was a marine, who was beaten to a bloody head by that waiter. Usopp pointed at Sanji and said. Ignore him, we are here to eat, don't forget that we are pirates. Zoro said. Dong dong dong. A tall and mighty man, wearing a tall chef's hat, had a broken foot. A chef with a beard and 2 golden braids. Zapu appears. Do you want my restaurant to close down? Why are you beating the customers? Zapu kicked Sanji to the ground when he saw him. He's wasting food. Sanji Kaido on the ground. What? Upon hearing this, Zapu spun and kicked the marine to the door. Get out of here, lousy. No one dares to waste food in my restaurant. Don't come here anymore, I won't do your business. Luffy and his group formed a circle at the entrance of the restaurant, muttering, isn't this restaurant a black shop? Do they want to have a big meal just like pirates? No, we are pirates too, what are we afraid of? Sanji, you scared the guests. Patty shouted to Sanji with a ferocious look on his face. Patty turned around and smiled at Luffy and the others. Dear guests, come in and sit down quickly. What do you want to eat? Our chef is the most powerful chef in the world. He changes his face so quickly, I'm a little scared. Usopp said to Nami. Don't be afraid, we have more weirdos here. Nami was rarely calm. We're going to have a big dinner, please bring the delicious food. Luffy walked into the restaurant with a swagger. Okay, I'll prepare it for you right away. Patty rubbed his hands together and said with a smile. At this moment, a sailor came running to the door. It's not good, Captain. Boom. Before the sailor could finish speaking, he was shot to the ground. There's another guest. Patty looked towards the door with a smile. Sanji lit up another cigarette and looked sideways at the door. What happened today? Does anyone want to come to my restaurant to cause trouble again? Zapu said with a dark face. Sea restaurant Baratie is surrounded by the pirate ships of the Krieg pirates. At the head is a huge pirate ship, the Delidonode Sabaru, with a Black Panther-shaped prow. Even the huge sea restaurant Baratie looks dwarfed in front of this pirate ship. The Delidonode Sabaru is twice as big as an ordinary warship. There were several pirate ships behind, surrounding the entire restaurant on the sea. For a moment, the guests in the restaurant were panicked. It's the Krieg pirates, the notorious, evil-doing Krieg pirates. Other guests on the ship exclaimed. Who is Krieg? They seem scared, Kaya asked. The Krieg pirates are the strongest pirate group in East Blue, Governor Krieg. He has 5,000 men, a pirate group with 50 pirate ships, and is also known as the Overlord of East Blue. Zoro answered. This is not a good person, please be careful, Kuina said. I know, the pirate Krieg has a bounty of 17 million Baileys, which is 1 million Baileys more than the last time we captured Captain Crow. Nami said happily when he talked about money. The entrance of Baratie, the sea restaurant. Standing were, Ghost Man, Agent, Governor, Krieg, and, Iron Wall, Baloo. The leader, Governor, Krieg, although he was fully armed and armored, had to be supported by 2 other people, like an eggplant beaten by frost. Ghost Man, Agent is also skinny, like an evil ghost. Iron Wall, Baloo is wearing a big shield, which is hilarious as hell. Although he was not injured, it looked like he had been hungry for many days. At this time, the East Blue Overlord knelt down, kowtowed to Patty and cried, "Please give us some food. We haven't eaten for many days. Please save us. We won't do anything. As soon as we've eaten, we'll leave here. We have the money and we will pay for it. Leftovers don't matter, just give me something to eat." Seeing Krieg crying, Patty felt a little hesitant in his heart, but Sanji was already planning to go to the kitchen to prepare food. At this time, Zoro's voice began to sound, and the guests in the restaurant could hear it clearly. "Overlord of the East Blue, Governor Krieg. First he pretended to be a marine, and then he killed the officer on the marine ship, stole the warship, and became a pirate. Normally, they fly the marine flag high, disguise themselves as marines, and then go around killing residents in the harbor and looting merchant ships and civilian ships passing by. If you're being chased by marine, you'll hang a white flag, pretend to surrender, and then sneak attack marine. A despicable villain who likes to stab people in the back and breaks his word. Do you think you can trust this kind of person? As long as he is full, you will not be able to escape." Zoro leaned against the dining table chair, looked sideways at everyone on the field, and calmly told a simple fact. Luffy also shouted, "Get out of here quickly, don't affect our family's good mood for dinner. Chef, hurry up and serve the food. We are the guests." Ghost Man, Akin, upon hearing Zoro's words, stared at Zoro and Luffy with cannibalistic eyes, not hiding his murderous intent at all. Kuina began to pull out her Edo Ikimonji, while keeping Kaya and Nami behind. "What are you looking at? Do you want to fight?" Kuina said, staring at Ghost Man, Akin. At this time, the marine captain shivered and did not dare to show his head. I cursed in my heart, what day is it today? How could I meet these people while having a meal? If you want to provoke others, you must first look at your own situation. When Luffy saw that Agent dared to provoke him with that look, he also started to say harsh words. To deal with you people, of course I will take advantage of your illness and kill you. Whoosh, there are 3 fewer seats at Luffy's table. When no one reacted, Akin, Krieg, and Baloo were easily subdued by Luffy, Zoro, and Kuina respectively, and they didn't even have the strength to struggle. Usopp, who ran out early, skillfully tied up Krieg and the 3 of them with ropes, and bullied those who had no resistance. He would never show mercy. Seeing Krieg, he remembered Captain Crow. It was because of him that Usopp lost his childhood sweetheart Kaya. Pirates all deserve to die, Usopp said through gritted teeth while tying him up. The operation was so smooth that even Krieg, not to mention the guests on the ship, didn't react. What happened? We were caught, just begging for some food. Johnny and Joseph, Usopp, let's go outside. Nami cheered. I heard that this East Blue Overlord Krieg has 5,000 men. Usopp, take out all your ropes and let's tie them up. Take them to Marine Base for money. Nami shouted to Usopp and Kuina. The captain who fell on the ground did not dare to move even more, and said in his heart, "This woman is a witch. Pirates only see money in her eyes." Patty and Zapu were also stunned, not knowing what to say for a moment. When Sanji came out with food for 3 people, he saw the 3 people tied up at the scene and was stunned for a moment. Zapu came back to his senses and said to Luffy, "Boy in the straw hat, everyone who comes into the restaurant is my guest. Our restaurant on the sea has 2 purposes. First, food must not be wasted. Second, there is no food on the sea for free. People provide food. I didn't gag them. You can continue to provide them with food. But they are not your guests now, they are my trophies," Luffy said to Zapu with a smile. After going out and earning a lot of money, Luffy was also very happy. I think other customers are also happy that I handled it this way, right? Yes, we all agree. Pirates like Krieg are not worthy of trust. Other guests on the ship began to persuade Jep. When they are full, they will definitely steal our money and kill us. Suddenly there was the sound of sharp objects being cut open outside. Boom, boom. Krieg's main ship, the Delido Nord Saberu, which was twice the size of a warship. Right in front of everyone's eyes. It was split in half. Boom, boom. Several more Krieg's pirate ships were split in half. The shadow of a small boat slowly appeared in the thick fog. In the thick fog, a coffin-shaped boat slowly sailed out. There is a person sitting on the boat, and there are 2 candles burning quietly next to him. The candles were shining dimly, illuminating the road ahead covered by thick fog. This man is wearing a black cloak and a black top hat with white fluff. A cross hangs on his chest and a cross sword is slung behind his back. Wearing black short boots, legs crossed. The person who came was none other than one of the 7 warlords of the sea. Dracul Mihawk, the world's greatest swordsman. Hawkeye, it is indeed you. I guess you are the one chasing Krieg. Jep looked at the small boat. Red feet, I didn't expect you to be here. Dracul Mihawk looked up at Zapu. What kind of hatred do we have against you? We are chasing you from the Grand Line all the way here. Krieg saw Hawkeye and lost control of his emotions and yelled at him. It's all Dracul Mihawk's fault. He is Governor Krieg, overlord of the East Blue. After a year of preparation, 5,000 crew members and large and small pirate ships formed the Krieg pirate fleet. I entered the Grand Line with full confidence, but it turned out that I hadn't even been there for 3 days. Just met this person, Dracul Mihawk. I was driven away by him for no reason. 1 sword and 1 boat, slashing all the way. Forced to flee from the Grand Line back to the East Blue. Finally, I came to this restaurant on the sea hungry. I thought I could grab the boat of Baratie after I was full. Unexpectedly, young people do not respect martial ethics and make a sneak attack. He is now being tied up and waiting to be sent to Marine in exchange for money. How could Krieg not hate Dracul Mihawk? Dracul Mihawk thought for a moment and replied to Krieg, the overlord of East Blue, you disturbed my nap, so I had to get up to kill time. I guess that's it, Zapu said, holding his tongue. Krieg mentally scolded Dracul Mihawk's entire family for chasing him for so long just because he interrupted his nap. Why do you only curse in your heart? Isn't he stupid enough to scold him in front of his face and think he didn't die quickly enough? See Restaurant Baratie. Nami and Usopp are still outside. Luffy, Kaya said worriedly to Luffy after seeing such a huge ship being split in half. It's not good, brother Zoro. Johnny and Joseph ran into the restaurant in a panic. Sister Nami drove going merry away. Johnny said. We were busy tying up Krieg's men, Joseph said. When we found out, Sister Nami drove going merry away, Johnny said. Sister Nami also said she would miss us. Joseph continued. Then Kuina chased after her. I didn't expect Nami to do such a thing. Usopp came into the restaurant from outside and reported what he knew. Kuina chased her, right. It's okay. I know where Nami is going. Let's eat first. Luffy was very calm. Where's my big brother Zoro? Johnny and Joseph asked Luffy. He's going to challenge his dream. We can still see him if we eat quickly. Luffy ate the food on the table quickly. There is such a disparity in power between you and me, why are you taking this foolish challenge? Dracul Mihawk, with his hands crossed and his chin on his hands, asked Zoro in confusion. My dream, to be the world's greatest swordsman. You are the target of my challenge. Zoro tied up the green turban and raised his sword to face Mihawk. Dracul Mihawk nodded and pulled out the cross knife from his chest. Young swordsman, although you have no plan, your courage is commendable. Unfortunately, I am not the kind of lion who hunts rabbits with all his strength. This dagger is enough to deal with you. Are you desperate for your life? Didn't you see that he just split such a big ship in half with one sword strike? Sanji also didn't understand Zoro's actions and tried to stop Zoro. You don't understand how I can bear it when my dream is within my reach. Zoro said to Sanji. Come on, Zoro. Luffy ran out with a group of people to watch the showdown. You are still adding fuel to the fire, and if you don't stop him, he will die. Sanji shouted to Luffy from the side. I promised him that I would not be an obstacle to him pursuing his dream. Luffy looked at Sanji and said seriously. And only by clearly recognizing the huge gap between us can we make progress and get closer to our dreams. Hearing these words, Zapu looked at Luffy in surprise. Welcome to watch, Showdown of the Century, Zoro PK Hawkeye. I am the host Usopp. Usopp sat on the chair in formal attire. We also specially invited the great pirate Red-Footed Zepp. Mr. Red-Footed Zepp, how do you view this duel? Usopp asked Zepp with the microphone. This young swordsman is very energetic and courageous, but he is still too young. He is no match for Dracul Mihawk. Zapu made his professional judgment. Thank you, Mr. Red-Footed Zepp, for popularizing science for us. Now we turn the camera to Luffy, the on-site commentator, Usopp said. Hello viewers, I am Luffy, the live commentator. I am very happy to live broadcast this match of the century for you. The challenger is Zoro. He holds a sword in each hand and holds a sword between his teeth. He is a three-sword swordsman. The charioteer is Dracul Mihawk, and he only draws a dagger. It seems that Dracul Mihawk is very confident in his own strength. Audiences, without further ado, the fierce showdown is about to begin. Attention our challenger, Zoro's heroic performance. Zoro rushes forward to start a group fight. Kill the ghost. Zoro has activated his ultimate move. Mystery. 3000 worlds. Zoro is down. What a fierce battle. I am the on-site commentator Luffy. I am very happy to commentate for everyone. Luffy said. Why does the fierce duel seem so ordinary under your explanation? Usopp complained. The duel between masters is always so boring. Kaido Zapu. Famous swordsman, you are defeated. Dracul Mihawk said. The wound on the back is a swordsman's shame. Zoro said to Dracul Mihawk. Well said. Dracul Mihawk admired Zoro. Boy, you are very good, tell me your name. Zoroa. Zoro, I will use this black knife to show my respect to you. Dracul Mihawk drew his sword and struck Zoro. I have remembered your name and look forward to meeting you again. Dracul Mihawk gracefully sat on his boat and disappeared into the thick fog. Hawkeye is too strong. I'm not his match yet. It seems I have to speed up my pace of getting stronger. Luffy said with a frown. Kaya, please go and treat Zoro's wound. Luffy said to Kaya. Usopp, Johnny and Joseph, the three of you, carry Zoro to the Queen's infirmary. Luffy directed Usopp and the others. Waiting for Kaya, Usopp and others to enter the Goa Queen. Luffy kicked the Marine Captain Hibbledy who was pretending to be dead again. Don't pretend to be dead, I know you're awake. Luffy said. Hurry up, if you don't want to get beaten. Take out your phone bug and call me the East Blue Shield's Town Marine Base. Remember to ask Kirby to pick up. Luffy squatted and said to Hibbledy. Hello, Kirby, it's me, Luffy, Captain Crow who gave it to you last time. Did you receive it? I got it, I reported it as you said. I heard I will be promoted, Luffy. That's great, Kirby. Here's the thing, I'm at the sea restaurant Baratie, and I just captured that Krieg. East Blue Overlord Krieg. That's right, I captured their entire pirate group. Now come over and escort them. Remember to bring money. They still have more than 2,500 people left. Old rule, the money belongs to me and the credit belongs to you. Yes, brother Luffy. Luffy calmly turned off the phone bug. This phone bug is used internally by Marine and is relatively safe. Ah, Hibbledy, are you there? Didn't you hear something you shouldn't have heard? Luffy said to Hibbledy with an exaggerated expression. Hibbledy. Marine arrived quickly and brought 200 million belly with him. After all, one Krieg has a bounty of 17 million Baileys, plus Akin and Baloo, 2,500 crew members, and pirate ships of all sizes. Marine quickly escorted Krieg and his gang away, and also brought Hibbledy back to Marine Base. Luffy thought to himself that before Menka only captured Captain Crow and was promoted to Colonel, Kirby should be able to be promoted faster. Slowly push Kebby, the younger brother, to the top management of Marine. It seems that I still need to find time to go to Marine Base and recruit Balloon as my younger brother. He is also a potential stock. I also had an unexpected surprise today, I got Hibbledy as my little brother. However, catching Krieg, the overlord of East Blue, was just an accident. Luffy did not forget his main purpose of finding a chef. Luffy went directly to knock on the boss Zapu's door. Hey, Sanji, you're here too. Luffy walked in and saw Sanji in Zapu's room. If you ask me to board your pirate ship again, you don't have to ask, I won't go. Sanji replied to Luffy while smoking. You brat, get out of here quickly, lousy, I'll get annoyed when I see you. Zapu said to Sanji angrily. The boy in the straw hat, take this brat away. Smelly old man, what did you say? I won't leave the sea restaurant anyway. Sanji said stubbornly. Uncle Zapu, although I really want Sanji to be my partner, but the condition is that he is willing. I know, Sanji, you can't let go of Uncle Zapu. Because Uncle Zapu, in order to save you, lost his legs, lost his status as a great pirate, and lost his dream of pursuing the legendary Allblue. You think it's you who took away everything from Uncle Zapu. Let him only remain as a chef in the sea restaurant. What are you talking about now? Zapu said with a dark face and angrily. He was obviously very unhappy. Luffy brought up the old matter again. What if I said I could restore Uncle Zapu's leg? Hearing this, Sanji's heart began to waver. If you can restore this smelly old man's legs to their original state, I will promise you. What if I said, I don't just want to recruit you, Sanji? Luffy looked at Zapu confidently, waiting for Zapu's answer. You want to recruit me? Boy, you are still young and you want to recruit me with just one leg. Zapu was unmoved by Luffy's conditions. Smelly old man, what are you thinking? As long as your legs recover, the reputation of Red Feet will resound across the Grand Line. Sanji crossed the table and raised Zapu's collar. Luffy ignored Shangjishi and then said to Zapu, if you open a sea restaurant here, how many people who have no food at sea can you provide food for? Luffy said to Zapu, I have a big plan to have maritime restaurants in East Blue, West Blue, North Blue, and South Blue, so that maritime restaurants can be opened in every corner of the sea. We still have to look for the legendary Allblue. To achieve this goal, we need a lot of money, a lot of people, and a powerful pirate group. I need you, Uncle Zapu, please join me. Luffy said to Zapu sincerely. Your dream is much bigger than mine. Without the power of the four emperors, it would be impossible to achieve. Zapu was stunned by Luffy's description of his dream. I want to be the pirate king in the future. It's just 4 emperors. Why do you think so in my eyes? Luffy said. Boom. Zapu's door was packed open by the eavesdropping chefs outside. Boss, why don't you agree to this boy? Many chefs who were lying in a mess on the ground said in unison. Luffy took his new crew member Sanji, and boarded the Goa Queen together to go to Cocoa Village. A senior chef named Sanji joins the team. The food on the Goa Queen went up to several levels. The food was fragrant and everyone was very happy to eat. Sanji was also very happy because Kaya, a beautiful woman, was here. Sanji was always attentive to Kaya throughout the whole process. Sanji used various jokes to make Kaya laugh happily. Seeing Kaya's beautiful smile, Sanji became more positive. Do not know why. Maybe some mental stimulation. Usopp awakens a strange hobby. Lately, I've gotten into tying people up. Seeing that Zoro kept moving around, he tied him to the pillar and ignored Zoro's curses. Usopp also said confidently, Zoro, you are a patient. You keep moving around, which is not good for the recovery of the wound. I am doing this for your own good. Then let Johnny and Joseph feed his eldest brother Zoro. If you don't bully Zoro when he's injured, you won't have a chance when he recovers. This funny scene made everyone laugh, and Zoro's dark history was added. Maybe the food cooked by Sanji was too delicious and the aroma was charming, while Luffy and the others were laughing. The aroma of the dishes directly attracted me, and a huge manatee mood. The manatee moo suddenly appears from the sea level. Blocked directly in front of the Goa Queen, preventing the ship from moving forward. A pair of big eyes, always staring at the food cooked by Sanji on the outdoor table. Drooling all the time, Luffy looked up and saw the manatee, and he became angry. This girl dared to peek at his meat. He didn't know whether he would live or die. Without saying anything, give him a beating first. Rubber pistol. The manatee moved unconvinced, and slapped its huge tail down, trying to knock the entire queen to pieces. That huge tail swept across the air. Kaya, who was originally a sickly beauty, was frightened. Seeing the beauty frightened, even Sanji couldn't bear it anymore and dared to sabotage his pickup with girls. Sanji jumped into the air and kicked the manatee. Shiro shoot. Sanji kicks manatee moo in the neck hard. Shoulder meet double shoot. Sanji kicked manatee Momo's shoulder with his feet continuously. Under Sanji's combo attack, manatee Moo was holding a bag on his head, foaming at the mouth, and twitching wildly on the sea level. With another graceful maneuver, Sanji landed on the deck of the Goa Queen, knelt down and said to Kaya, "Beautiful lady, are you feeling better now?" "Thank you, I'm much better." Kaya responded to Sanji politely. Fascinated by the art of tying, Usopp immediately tied up Moo, a manatee, and made him a boatman on the Goa Queen. Not to mention, After Usopp did this, the speed of the ship immediately increased. Luffy sighed. It was good to have teammates, especially with Kaya as the ship's doctor. Zoro recovered from his injuries faster. Seeing that the ship's doctor is so good, Luffy, as the captain, of course wants to reward the ship's doctor Kaya. As a captain with some knowledge of medical skills, Luffy decided to exchange experiences with Kaya to improve Kaya's medical skills. Guaranteed by Luffy's IQ. Absolutely no selfish motives. Kaya's improved medical skills are beneficial to everyone. But to exchange medical skills, of course, we should go back to the captain's master bedroom to communicate. Watching the beautiful Miss Kaya being carried into the room by Princess Luffy. Sanji was very sad. Aren't these flowers stuck on cow dung? On the other side, the most vicious being in East Blue, the leader of the dragon pirates is Saw Dragon. In mockery of East Blue Marine, the dragon pirates, deliberately establishing his base at the most conspicuous place on the coast. It's called Evil Dragon Park. Although the Krieg pirates are known as the overlords of East Blue, the most vicious pirate group in East Blue is actually the Dragon Pirates. The Dragon Pirates rule the East Blue Kanam Islands, with more than 20 villages and towns, large and small. Has been carrying out a predatory reign of terror. He destroyed 10 of the more than 30 villages and towns in the archipelago. Saw the dragon, and Marine offered a bounty of up to 20 million belly. The reason why the bounty on Saw Dragon is not particularly high. He can still be so arrogant and domineering, collecting protection fees from various villages and towns. The reason is because of the Saw Dragon and Colonel Mouse, the colonel of the 16th Marine Branch, collude with each other. Colonel Mouse, as Marine scum, received large amounts of money as bribes from the Saw Dragon. Then he kept lying to the Marine headquarters and the nearby Marine base about military information and covering up the various actions of the Saw Dragon. It can be said that Colonel Mouse is the protective umbrella of the evil dragon. Colonel Mouse, I invite you here this time because I have a big thing to entrust you with. The Saw Dragon was lying on a beach chair, holding a goblet high, drinking wine, and said in a leisurely manner. Brother Evil Dragon, what's going on? Don't embarrass me, brother. I have already worked hard to silence the people above. Colonel Mouse shook the goblet of red wine gently and replied with an embarrassed look on his face. Colonel Mouse, the most trustworthy thing in the world is money. Ha ha ha, I will never treat you badly. The Saw Dragon laughed ha ha ha. I have a human cadre under me. Do you know him? Said the Saw Dragon. Brother Evil Dragon, do you mean your precious female cadre witch Nami? Colonel Mouse said. Dragon Park. It is a castle building with a main body of 5 floors. The flag of the Dragon Pirates hangs high in the most conspicuous place on the top floor. Below is a super large swimming pool. The seawater is connected to the open sea, which is very suitable for fish people to do leisure activities here. Surrounding the large pool are several pavilions. The main entrance is a large iron gate. Usually when the Saw Dragon is active here, he is always accompanied by many female fishmen. He likes to play in the open air in the swimming pool and mate. The Saw Dragon will also use this place as a meeting place with important guests. Yes, that's her. She hid 100 million bellies illegal income in Coco Village. The Saw Dragon grinned evilly. Illegal income. Saw Dragon repeated again. This isn't appropriate. Colonel Mouse showed greedy eyes. As a Marine, the Colonel collects the illegal income of pirates. Isn't he doing harm to the people? It's both a benefit and a reward from above, why not do it? I think the Colonel will deal with it impartially. The Saw Dragon lay back on the chair again, squinting his eyes and enjoying the massage given to him by the mermaid behind him. Since Brother Dragon is so considerate to me, I will be disrespectful. Colonel Mouse drank the red wine in one gulp, and his eyes rolled around twice on his sinister face. Brother Evil Dragon, let me tell you some news. Do you remember Kesha Town? Colonel Mouse said to the Evil Dragon. What's wrong, Brother Mouse, are you going to complain? It's too late. Kesha Town has been wiped out by me because someone couldn't pay the protection fee. The Saw Dragon said indifferently. No, that's not what I want to say. The remnants of Kesha Town have contacted Commodore Bryn Blinn of the East Blue 77 branch. He has gone here to check for information. If you can't send him away, brother, then what you will face is that all Marines from all branches of East Blue will surround you together. Colonel Mouse said gloomily. If it weren't for the 100 million Baileys, Colonel Mouse wouldn't have wanted to expose this important information. It was Commodore Brin Brin, whose status in East Blue was higher than that of the colonel of his branch. Thank you, Brother Mouse, I won't entertain you anymore, Xiaoba will see you off first. Saw the Dragon said. After sending Colonel Mouse away. Xiaoba, Ju, Kruby, let's go to meet that Commodore now. Prepare 2 million belly first, see if we can't negotiate. Saw Dragon put on his clothes, called many fishmen brothers, boarded the Shark's barb and sailed towards Kesha town. Because Colonel Mouse betrayed intelligence, Marine Commodore Brinbulin of the 77th branch was brutally killed. The entire marine fell into the trap of the dragon pirates and was involved in the vortex, and the entire crew was destroyed. Their hope, their savior, Marine from Branch 77, was gone. The annihilation of Branch 77 Marine quickly spread to more than 20 villages and towns ruled by the evil dragon, causing all civilians to lose hope for a while. When the news reached Nami's ears, she was even more convinced that her decision was the right one. No one can fight against the dragon pirates. The short adventure with Luffy and the others made her fall in love with this team, but unfortunately she had her own reasons. Nami can't put Luffy and the others into trouble because of her personal affairs. Even Branch 77 Marine has been destroyed, and no one can resist the rule of the evil dragon. She can handle this herself. Thanks to Luffy, she was able to raise the money she needed for this trip faster than she expected. As long as she gives the 100 million belly she has saved over the years to the Saw Dragon and buys Cocoa West Village according to the previous agreement with the Saw Dragon, she will be free. Theoretically this is the case. Nami drove Going Merry and returned to Cocoa West Village. Although the villagers were still the same as before, they all ran away when they saw her. Except Aegean greets her. No wonder, after all, she is a member of the Dragon Pirates and an accomplice. That witch who can throw away anything for money. It doesn't matter, it can be over for today. This nightmare is finally over. She was going to be free. She is in a good mood today and can laugh as much as she wants. The haze that weighed on her heart finally dissipated. Nami and her sister Nokigao had just met. Nami told Nokigao that she had saved enough 100 million belly. Today, she was going to have a showdown with the evil dragon and buy back Cocoyasi village. The two sisters hugged each other happily and even started to dance happily. A quarrel at the entrance of the village interrupted their dance. Spread out, spread out. I received a report from civilians that there are pirates hiding here in Cocoa West Village. There are no pirates here. It was Jian who rushed out and stood in front of Colonel Mouse, shouting loudly. Marine pushed Jian away roughly. Colonel Mouse came over with a group of Marines and headed straight to the Orange Grove. In front of all the villagers in Cocoa West Village, they dug out the 100 million belly that Nami had hidden there from the Orange Grove. According to reports from the villagers of Cocoa West Village, there are leaders of the dragon pirates hiding here. A large amount of stolen money was also hidden in the village, and it is now confiscated according to law. Colonel Mouse announced the Marine investigation order in public. Nami rushed out and fought with Marine for her treasure. This is my money, why do you take it away? The villagers of Cocoyasi village also began to come out of their houses, blocking Marine's path and preventing them from leaving. Unfortunately, the evil dragon had already confiscated their weapons, and they had no way to fight against Colonel Mouse. Because this is illegal income. Do you, and you, want to hinder Marine from performing his official duties? Colonel Mouse said. A Marine who obeys orders and obstructs Marine's official duties will be regarded as an accomplice of a pirate and will be killed on the spot. Colonel Mouse gave the order directly. When Noki heard that Colonel Mouse said that he wanted to kill Nami, he rushed to hug Nami and stop Nami from snatching her. Upon seeing this, Colonel Rat took 100 million belly and left Cocoa West Village with satisfaction. Why are you reporting me? Why, obviously today, this nightmare should have ended. Nami's heartbreaking cries and questions hurt Aegean and all the villagers in Cocoyasi village. No one reported you, Nami. Actually, we have known about everything you did for so many years, Nami. Please forgive us incompetent adults for letting you, a little girl, bear all this. The villagers' words woke Nami up. Is it a dragon? It's a dragon, evil dragon. Nami broke away from Nokigao and ran towards the Dragon Park. Thanks to the efforts of the Manatee Mumu and the whipping of Usopp, the Goa Queen soon arrived at Coco West Village. Congratulations to host for marrying your wife and successfully getting pregnant. You will activate the second gear and gain skills, rubber jet pistol and rubber jet rocket launcher. Reward: medicinal fruit. Luffy was lying on the bed, looking at Kaya who was sleeping next to him, and listening to the system prompts. Luffy didn't expect that Kaya would be born so soon. Although I am happy that my strength has become stronger again, this means that I will not be able to exchange medical skills with Kaya during this period of time. I still feel a little disappointed. Luffy gently covered Kaya with a quilt and left a piece of paper on the table next to him, writing down that he was going to save Nami and asked Kaya to eat the medicinal fruit. Now that the Goa Queen has arrived at Coco West Village, the first thing Luffy did when he came out of the room was to knock out the Manatee Mumu. There was no need for him to pull the boat now to prevent the Manatee Mumu from causing trouble. Meanwhile, Johnny and Joseph were left to watch the boat and take care of the pregnant Kaya. Then Luffy and others ran straight to Coco West Village. I saw a bunch of villagers crowded at the entrance of the village, as if they wanted to do something, and their expressions were very unkind. The leader, a GN, who is carrying a windmill on his head, is preventing the villagers from rioting. Luffy probably guessed what was going on. Luffy raised his hand to stop the other crew members and signaled them to stop the villagers and prevent them from dying. A man walked towards the helpless and crying Nuo Chigao who was kneeling on the ground, lowered his head and asked her, "Sister Nuo Chigao, may I ask where Nami went? I'm here to save Nami, don't doubt me, I have the strength." Noki raised her head and looked at Luffy. Although she didn't know who this boy was, she had heard Nami say when she came back that she met a boy wearing a straw hat. Nami once said that this boy wearing a straw hat defeated the Alvida pirates alone. He also defeated the Immortal, Buggy pirates and the 100 Plans, Crow pirates. Even when Nami ran away with money and returned to Coco West Village, he sent the East Blue Overlord Krieg to prison. He is very lustful and always wants Nami to give birth to a child for him. He also said that if she gives birth to a child for him, she will help him get rid of the Saw Dragon. Nami also said mockingly, "That funny joker is so funny that he can't beat that Saw Dragon." Nokigao knew that it was actually Nami who didn't want this group of people wearing straw hats to be involved in this incident, just like Commodore Brin from the East Blue 77 branch, who was killed by the Saw Dragon. Nami is afraid of losing again, the companion she recognizes. But Nokigao can't control that much now, the situation can't get any worse, and she has nothing else to turn to for help. Nokigao stood up and looked directly at Luffy. Nokigao saw sincerity and fearlessness in Luffy's eyes. "Hello, I am Nami's sister Nokigao. I've heard Nami talk about you, the Straw Hat Captain." Nokigao held Luffy tightly with both hands, forcibly controlling herself not to shed tears, and begged in a crying voice. "I need your help, please save Nami. As long as you can save Nami, I'll do anything. I'll give birth to your child." "Nuo Chigao, what are you talking about?" Aegean didn't recognize the man in the straw hat. When he saw Noi Chigao, he suddenly told him that he wanted to give him a child, which he couldn't understand. "I also want a beautiful girl," Sanji shouted from the side. "It's a deal, big sister Nuaokyu. Where is Nami now?" Luffy said seriously. "Nami is going to Dragon Park, please hurry up and save her," Nochigao said. "However, you must be careful. The Saw Dragon has a monster that can easily destroy the entire village," Nochigao said to Luffy. "Are you referring to the manatees at the port?" Luffy pointed at the manatee he knocked unconscious. At this time, Jien and other villagers also followed Luffy's finger and saw the manatee Mumu, and they were all shocked. It was this monster that easily wiped out the town of Kesha. The entire town of Kesha doesn't even have the ability to resist the demons. Now lying in the seaport of Coco West Village. "As long as you rescue Nami and defeat the Saw Dragon, we are willing to give you a child." Other girls in Coco West Village shouted after them after seeing Manatee Mumu. "Let's go. Go to Dragon Park. See what those fishmen are capable of." Luffy led the crew straight to Dragon Park again. On the other hand, the clever Nami has already picked up on the clues. He guessed that it was the Saw Dragon and the Marine Rat Colonel working together, stealing 100 million Baileys to ruin the original agreement. Nami picked up the short stick and rushed to the Dragon Park. But halfway through, he was stopped by Kuina, who had been secretly following Nami. Do you want to die alone? Kuina stared at Nami with cold eyes. Go away, this is my business. It's none of your business. Nami shouted at Kuina with a dark face. This is your 100 million Baileys. If you want to find the Saw Dragon, you can't do it without this. The few bags Kuina threw to Nami were the money stolen by Colonel Mouse. Surprised, the Marine who stole your money has been defeated by me. Chapter 41. It's really ugly. As a Marine, instead of protecting civilians, you still collude with evil forces. If you behave and return the 100 million belly to Nami, I can still forgive you. Kuina stood in front of Colonel Mouse and pointed at a group of them with the word, Watto. Haha, the little girl actually wants to block a group of our Marines by herself. She is overestimating her abilities. Let's teach her a lesson. Colonel Mouse said with a cold face. Stupid, Shimotsuki flow. Full moon frost dance. Kuina easily knocked the group of Marines to the ground. I promised Luffy to watch this woman, but you robbed her of money in front of me. Kuina pointed the tip of her sword at Colonel Mouse. You have been deceived by this witch. She is a witch who is in it for money and can even forget her own mother's death. Colonel Mouse shouted in fear. Well, I can't say I was deceived. I didn't trust this woman in the first place. It's just our captain who trusted her. Kuina said. Since you don't want to, I can only take the money myself. Kuina threw 100 million belly to Nami. Nami had a surprised look on her face, and it was hard to describe her feeling of regaining what she had lost. Surprised. Don't worry, I didn't kill those Marines. This would make someone annoying. Also, you want to use 100 million belly to buy Cocoa West Village from Saw Arlong. Give up this ridiculous idea. Arlong Park. The Saw Dragon lay on the chair, and Xiaoba, Ju, and Kruby stood behind, looking coldly at Nami who came in from the door. My surveyor Nami is back. Welcome. The Saw Dragon didn't even open his eyes. What, are you ready for the 100 million Baileys? It's okay, I don't have any money anymore, I can make more, my witch Nami. It's just 100 million Baileys. Seeing no one around him, the Saw Dragon frowned, opened his eyes, and saw Nami with a dark face, scattering 100 million belly on the ground. I want to buy Cocoa West Village. Nami looked at the Saw Dragon stubbornly. The Saw Dragon looked at Nami in front of him and felt in a trance. It seems that 8 years ago, the young Nami stood in front of the Saw Dragon and made an agreement with him in a childish voice to buy the Cocoa West Village for 100 million belly. The smile disappeared from the Saw Dragon's face. He looked at the 100 million belly on the ground, then at Nami, and was silent for a while. Nami, you heard wrong. I said 100 million belly per year. It has been 8 years now. Do you have 800 million belly? Dragon, you. Nami angrily pinched the Saw Dragon's collar. Saw the dragon and lifted Nami up with his backhand. You don't have enough money, and I'm in a dilemma. Or do you want to escape from here? Then Cocoyasi village will all be killed by me because of your actions. Nami shook off the Saw Dragon's hand and ran away amidst the ridicule of the dragon pirates. At this moment, she knew that the Saw Dragon never intended to keep the agreement, and she also knew the meaning of what Kuina said. She wants to go back to the village to stop them from rioting. They can't defeat the dragon pirates and will only die. Nami was running, but was accidentally tied down by a stone on the ground. Nami just fell to the ground, crying helplessly. As long as you struggle to live, there will definitely be a lot of happy things happening. That's what Belle-Mare's mother said, but I'm tired. Who can help me? Woo woo. Ooh, Nami, I'm here. Luffy stood in front of Nami and helped her up. Nami put down all her pride and looked at Luffy with almost pleading eyes and tears. Luffy, will you help me? Is that agreement still valid? Luffy put his straw hat on Nami. Of course it works. I won't allow anyone to make my navigator cry. Luffy shouted loudly. Usopp, are you ready with the rope? Already prepared. Zoro, Kuina, guard the other exits and don't let them escape. Sanji, take care of Nami. Are you going to rush forward? Sanji said to Luffy in surprise, holding a cigarette in his mouth. You really don't need our help? Zoro and Kuina asked Luffy. No need, I'm very angry now. Usopp, I'll knock one away, and you'll tie one up. Change gear, Second gear. Luffy's whole body was red and steam was rising from his body. Call out. Luffy disappeared. Even Kuina and Zoro didn't see Luffy clearly. Boom. The gate of Dragon Park that could block artillery was broken. This speed is faster than that, Captain Crow. Kuina was shocked by Luffy's speed, unsure of her own eyes, and turned to ask Zoro. Yes, faster than Captain Crow. Did he hide his strength before? Zoro was also surprised by Luffy's speed. The two looked at each other and said secretly, they can't be left too far by this big pervert, and they need to strengthen their training. Who dare to break into the dragon pirates' base? Bang, bang, bang. As soon as the evil dragon's Murloc men asked questions, Luffy flew him into the sky. Just as Luffy said, those fishmen flew into the sky one by one and fell in front of Usopp, foaming at the mouth. Without saying a word, Usopp hit their heads with the hammer in his left hand, and tied them up with the rope in his right hand. The speed of tying and the variety of tying techniques were an eye-opener for Sanji. Saw Dragon, get out of here. Luffy stood in the middle of the entrance to Dragon Park and shouted loudly. If you want to see our boss, you won't ask us. Everyone, come on. Young man, don't hinder me. Bang, bang, bang. Another group of Murlocs flew in front of Usopp. Usopp skillfully picked up the hammer and struck them one by one. How dare you, a little human, act so arrogantly in front of my six-sword style Shalba. I am the second best swordsman in Fishman Street. Shalba, an octopus fishman, rushed towards Luffy with 6 swords in his hand. Go away, stinky octopus Hachi. Shalba was punched into the sea by Luffy, and not a single bubble came out. It looks like he fainted at the bottom of the sea. The kissing fishman chirped, seeing Shalba rushing forward. He originally wanted to sneak attack Luffy from behind, but he didn't have time to spit out the water arrow in his mouth. However, Luffy entered second gear too quickly. Whoops. Luffy appeared behind the fishman chirp. Rubber jet pistol. The sneak attack failed, but Chu was attacked by a sneak attack. He was directly knocked into the sky by Luffy, and flew to Usopp. Fishman karate. 1000-watt straight punch. Cruel. It's useless. Luffy appeared behind Cruel. Your karate is too slow in my eyes. Rubber jet pistol. Ah! The fishman Cruel screamed and followed in the footsteps of the fishman Chirp. Usopp saw the two of them and tied them up with chains just to be on the safe side. From the time Luffy broke the gate of the Fishman Park to the time he knocked away all the Saw Dragon's men, it actually only took less than 5 minutes. It took another 5 minutes to defeat all 3 cadres who saw the evil dragon. Interesting, is it devil fruit? Saw Dragon smiled cruelly. The strength is good, but it's a pity that you shouldn't challenge me. We mermaids are more perfectly evolved than the humans on land. We are a masterpiece of nature and a superior race. To resist the mermaids is to rebel against the laws of nature. You have defeated my compatriots and made me angry. I will humiliate you to death. The Saw Dragon picked up his peak-cutting sword and rushed towards Luffy. You succeeded in making me angry, and you dared to mess with my navigator. Luffy also said to the Saw Dragon with a serious expression. Rubber jet pistol. The Saw Dragon still underestimated Luffy's speed in second gear and couldn't touch Luffy at all. On the battlefield, it was as if the Saw Dragon deliberately stood still while being beaten by Luffy. The Saw Dragon was beaten crazily by Luffy's fists from all directions and out of nowhere. He has so much brute strength that he has absolutely no use for it. This feeling was just like when he faced Kizaru or Jinbei before, with no way to fight back. Impossible. Murlocs are an advanced race. How can low-level humans defeat the Murlocs? The evil dragon saw wounds all over his body, but he still didn't want to believe it. You talk too much, Luffy said to the Saw Dragon. Whoops. Luffy broke off the Saw Dragon and revealed its long jagged nose. Ah, 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 the Saw Dragon shouted in pain. Does it hurt? When you tortured and killed other civilians before, they actually felt the same way. Although I really want you to experience it, let's end this farce. Rubber jet rocket launcher. The Saw Dragon was sent directly from the ground into the air by Luffy. It's not over yet. Luffy appeared again behind the Saw Dragon, which was already in the air. Rubber jet rocket launcher. The Saw Dragon was beaten to the ground by Luffy from high altitude. Boom, boom. The iconic castle of Dragon Park was destroyed directly from the sky by the Saw Dragon like a meteor. The castle collapsed into ruins. This demonic fish man who ruled more than 20 towns and villages in the Konam Islands was defeated by Luffy. The 8-year nightmare that has enveloped the Konam Islands is also over. The villagers of Coco West Village, led by Takaru, plan to fight to the death with the dragon pirates. The remaining villagers of Kesha Town also came, as well as several other villages and towns, planning to fight to the death with the dragon pirates. But when they arrived at the scene, they only saw the collapse of the Dragon Park Castle, and the Murloc being tied up in a fancy way by Usopp. Ping 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 pong. The weapons of Aegean and the villagers were scattered on the ground. Everyone was stunned and couldn't believe this scene. 8 years. 8 years. How many times did they keep contacting Marine outside? But even if the contact is successful, the ending is that the town that contacted Marine and Marine were wiped out by the dragon pirates. There are never exceptions. There are more than 20 existing villages and towns in the Konam Islands, and they no longer have the means or ability to raise the high-priced protection fees paid by the Fishman pirates. For 8 years, these villagers had been squeezed out of every penny they had. So today, I couldn't bear it anymore and planned to fight to the death with the dragon pirates. Belmere, do you see it in the sky? The nightmare is finally over. Aegean held his eyes with both hands and couldn't stop the tears from flowing out. This can't be a dream. He did it. He really did it. Nuo Chigao covered her mouth with her hands, tears streaming down her face, in disbelief. Mom and Dad, did you see it in the sky? The dragon was defeated. Chapo of Kesha Town was holding a knife and crying on the side, and other remaining townspeople were also crying loudly. Nami stood there, looking up, covering his tearful face with a straw hat. He did it. He didn't lie to me. I am free. We are all free. Goa Queen and Going Merry dock in Coco West Village. Make repairs and replenish supplies. It was just like any other night. Has arrived. The sea in the Konam Islands is still so calm. Celebrate. Gala, dinner, party, bonfire, singing, dancing. From morning to night. From today to tomorrow. Cheers, smiles. 8 years of suffering, 8 years of haze, 8 years of nightmare. Celebrate that it's all over. Where is Luffy? Where did he go? Doesn't he like this kind of party the most? Kuina asked Zoro. I heard from the chef at Sanji that he didn't know which village he went to in the Konam Islands. Zoro answered while drinking. Where's Sanji? Kuina asked next. He is hanging around Nami and Noki. If you want to find him, you have to go to the Orange Grove. Zoro said. Ignore these two perverts, let's keep drinking and singing. Let's keep having fun tonight. Usopp said. Because most of the members of the Dragon Pirates are tied up by Usopp, the residents of the Konam Islands respect Usopp very much. In the past few days, Usopp has been subjected to all kinds of rainbow farts, which have made him go to heaven. Luffy defeated the Dragon Pirates. It was announced that day that more than 20 towns in the Konam Islands, including 10 rebuilt towns, would be included in the protection of the Luffy pirates. Starting today, protection fees will be paid to Luffy. At first, the residents of the Konam Islands thought they had finally gotten rid of the rule of the Dragon Pirates, but another more ferocious pirate group came. Nami was so angry that she almost beat Luffy to death with a stick. But then Luffy announced a series of matters and policies. I found that the amount of bile everyone had to pay was not much. It's just that Luffy demands that the port be opened. Conduct trade with the Kingdom of Goa, Shirop Village, Windmill Town, and Shimotsuki Village designated by him. And we need to vigorously develop orange planting in Cocoyasi Village, fishery development in Kesha Town, and various businesses in more than 20 other towns and villages. Rebuild 10 more towns destroyed by the dragon. Transform Dragon Park into a large maritime trading center. It will be renamed Luffy Exchange in the future. The maritime restaurant Baratie must be allowed to settle in this sea area, and at the same time be allowed to open stores on land. Establish the diplomatic post of the Kingdom of Goa. Artillery and lighthouses should be built in all seaports. He will plant his Luffy pirate flag in the future. Of course, the flag that will be displayed on the surface now is the flag of the Kingdom of Goa. For a while, in the Konam Islands, there is a great tendency for everything to be prosperous and prosperous. Konam Islands, a certain town, a certain bedroom. Hello, Kirby, it's me, Luffy. How are you doing? Oh, brother Luffy, I've been pretty good lately, and I've already reported Krieg. But that time the credit was a bit big, so I asked Amber Bell to share it with me. Uncle Balloon, is he willing to be my little brother? He said yes, Brother Luffy. Where's Captain Heboldy? Keep an eye on him. Heboldy said that he looks up to Brother Luffy very much. I forgot to talk to you about business. Then come to Cocoa West Village. I will destroy the dragon pirates. What? The dragon pirates were wiped out by Brother Luffy. Brother Luffy, do you really plan to become a pirate? Otherwise, you should become a marine with your little brother. Stop talking and remember to bring more people with you. The dragon pirates have quite a few people. Also, I helped you catch a marine mole, Colonel Mouse. What? Brother, you are so awesome. The Marine headquarters has sent Vice Admiral to escort Colonel Menka and the previous pirates. I will report the work personally when the time comes. By the way, Kebi, from now on, please remember to take care of the Kanam Islands. These are my brother's territory. No problem, as long as there are no crimes committed or intentional crimes in these places, I will take care of them, Brother Luffy. As for the Fishman pirates, the old rules are that the money belongs to me and the credit belongs to you. Yes, Brother Luffy. Then I'll die, hapless Kirby. Goodbye, Brother Luffy. Luffy hung up the phone and scratched his hair. For a moment, he didn't know where he was. Thinking back carefully, I remember that at the end I was drinking with Uncle Sam. Which means this is Uncle Sam's house. The girl next to her with an upright and graceful figure. She must be Uncle Sam's little daughter. Hey, I don't know who started the rumor, saying that as long as you give him a child, he will protect that village and town. Isn't that bad for Captain Luffy's reputation? Don't let him find the person who spread the rumors. Especially when I heard that Koko Nishimura had given their most beautiful Nami, Nokiko and other young girls to Captain Luffy who defeated the dragon pirates. Now everyone can't sit still, no one wants to experience another reign of terror like the dragon pirates. What's more, Captain Luffy is still engaged in business and reconstruction work in the Kanam Islands. So the big sisters in the Kanam Islands are all too enthusiastic. The man could not resist this temptation. No, last night, in Balaxi village, Uncle Og played happily with his eldest sister in his daughter's room. When I woke up in the morning, I found Aunt Babylon's daughter's room in Mimino village. Now, I found that I didn't know why I ran into Uncle Sam's daughter's room in Cocoa West village. Brother Luffy, are you awake? Uncle Sam's daughter put her white arms around Luffy's neck. Brother Luffy, I want to play games again. In the evening, when it's Sister Lily's turn, I won't have to play games with you. The waves lapped gently on the beach, and the afterglow of the setting sun spread on the sea in Cocoa West village. The sea breeze blew up a whirlwind, carrying the fallen leaves high into the sky, and then fell on a small hillside with the wind. It is filled with flowers and surrounded by lush trees. Closer to the hillside, there are 1 or 2 orange trees planted with a few tumble-down oranges on them. This is Cocoa West Village, a remote corner, a wooden cross, where Nami and Nochigao's adoptive mother Belmere is buried. Not far away, there are 2 figures. Under the setting sun, their shadows are intertwined and elongated. She is a girl with a red hairband on her head, short light blue hair, and a yellow vest. The tattoos on her shoulders and healthy wheat-colored skin looked even more attractive under the afterglow of the setting sun. She gently held the arm of the boy wearing the straw hat and gently rested her head on the boy wearing the straw hat's shoulder. The 2 of them sat on a hillside, leaning against each other, watching the ebb and flow of the coast. Are you really not going to go to sea with me all the time? No, unlike Nami, I can draw sea charts and can help you. I'll stay here and help you keep an eye on the Kanam Islands. I'm waiting for you to come back. You will come back, right, Luffy? Nochigao's voice was trembling, not sure whether it was because of the pain caused by last night's madness or because of inner uneasiness. I want you to go to sea with me more, Nuo Chigao. Luffy sniffed Nuo Chigao's short hair. The sea breeze carrying the scent of orange came again, blowing their hair away. I don't know if it's the sea breeze that smells like orange, or the hair fragrance of Nojiko that smells like orange. Does Nami know? Nokigao, what is your identity? Luffy put his hand on Nokigao's shoulder and pulled her closer. No, I didn't tell her. Nami is already in pain, facing the dragon that killed Belmere's mother day and night. Did you know that at such a young age, Nami was forced to join the dragon pirates and had to endure the confusion of other villagers? The enemy is clearly right in front of you, but you can't take revenge. And I'm afraid Nami hates me. At the beginning, the kingdom of Aoid had a rebellion in the country and was attacked by a large number of pirates. I was hiding among civilians and escaping. As a result, a large number of civilians suffered. Sometimes, I think, if I hadn't hid among the civilians, maybe they wouldn't have died, and Nami's biological parents wouldn't have died either. At that time, Nami was still a little baby. I picked her up from a pile of civilians, and then we were adopted by Ermel's mother. I'm scared. Nami hates me. I have no family except Nami. Nuo Chigao's trembling voice and her body shaking due to uneasiness made people feel distressed. No Chigao, now you still have me. From today on, you are my woman and I am your family. Luffy said to No Chigao gently. It's just that I didn't expect that Nuo Chigaoyo is actually the last royal family of the Aoiko kingdom and the only remaining princess in the kingdom. That is a thing of the past. Besides, after the war, the kingdom of Oiko had no name as a kingdom. I have done nothing for that country, and I have no ability to do anything. Now, I am very happy to have you and Nami. Nuo Chigao clung to Luffy infatuatedly, not caring about her identity. That's your home country, isn't it? I heard that the civilians in that country are living a very bad life now. I'm just a famous, down-and-out princess. Without your arrival, Luffy, I would still be under the rule of the dragon pirates, living in a panic. Nokigao said. Don't you want to go back to your country? Don't you want to do something for your motherland? Luffy asked Nokigao. I guess, but what can I do? Actually, I begged Belmare's mother to teach me marine shooting skills. Hehe, don't look at me like this, my shooting ability is very strong. Mother Belmare used to praise me and say I could become a sailor. So what? The day the Saw Dragon came, Belmare's mother died. How many times have I wanted to kill the Saw Dragon, but I know I can't do it. Luffy held Nuo Chigao's cold hand tightly. You couldn't do it before, but you can do it now. Because I'm here. I, Luffy, am the man who wants to be the Pirate King. Since you plan to stay here, and you are the only remaining royal family in the Aoiko kingdom, then let me help you revive the Oiko kingdom. When Luffy shouted these words, the sea breeze blurred Nokigao's eyes. At this moment, Nuo Chigao could no longer look away from this young man. Nuo Chigao looked at the boy wearing a straw hat next to him. The setting sun shone on him. He is that little son. The legendary Nika. At this moment, Nochigao's heart was stolen by this boy. This little villain not only took her body, but also stole her heart. In fact, committing to him was not just the promise made with him to rescue Nami. And the scene when he fell from the sky and defeated the Saw Dragon touched her heart. It also touched the hearts of all the girls in the Kanam Islands. Who doesn't hope that a Prince Charming can descend from the sky and save them from the dragon's castle in the fairy tale? But the reality is so cruel. Despair, no hope for the future. They can only pray to the sun. Pray that the sun will shine through the darkness. And at that moment, Luffy shows up, although he is not riding a white horse. But it fell from the sky. It shattered the nightmare that had enveloped them for 8 years. That day, all the girls in the Kanam Islands. A dream come true. That day, all the girls in the Kanam Islands. My body and mind were stolen by this boy. Luffy stirs up more than just girls' hearts. It touched the hearts of all the young people in the Kanam Islands. Who doesn't look forward to becoming a brave man, following the heroes to cut through thorns and destroy the dragons in fairy tales? Especially that evil dragon. Reality still exists. How much the boy from the Kanam Islands hated the dragon pirates. Now I admire Luffy pirates so much. How afraid the adults of the Kanam Islands are of the dragon pirates. I have so much respect for the Luffy pirates now. Plus, Uncle Usopp is here. According to Uncle Usopp, humans and fishmen should not be at odds with each other. The evil ones are the dragon pirates, and the evil ones are also the dragon pirates. Just like humans, there are bad people. The dragon pirates are invincible in East Blue. The dragon pirates will take over the entire East Blue. Usopp was bragging, but he didn't know that he accidentally guessed the Saw Dragon's plan. Then the great sea warrior Uncle Usopp appeared. Uncle Usopp brings his captain. Rescued civilians who were in dire straits. Give freedom back to everyone. Uncle Usopp is the bravest warrior on the sea. He, Uncle Usopp, fought so bravely. Usopp has been promoting externally. All the fishmen of the dragon pirates were tied and captured by his uncle Usopp, the strongest warrior on the sea. From a certain perspective, Usopp did not lie. Uncle Usopp's Captain Luffy. It was even praised by Uncle Usopp. Like the legendary savior. The incarnation of the sun god. Dispel all darkness like the sun. Under Usopp's outrageous bragging, the Kanam Islands already worship Usopp and Luffy as heroes and saviors. In Coco West Village, in Kesha Town, in North Lisi Village, in Mimino Village, there are more than 20 towns and villages in the Kanam Islands. Massive statues of Luffy and Usopp were cast. On the contrary, those of Zoro, Kuina and others are just reliefs on the base, serving as foils for these two huge statues. These villagers even regarded Usopp's boast as a fairy tale and engraved it on the stone tablet next to the sculpture. Under Usopp's exaggerated instigation ability, not only the urban reconstruction work in the Kanam Islands went very smoothly. He also deceived the civilian armed forces, which had always been powerful, into coming out. This civilian armed force is called the Guardians of the Sun God. Moreover, this unit composed of villagers from the Kanam Islands also appointed Usopp as the first commander-in-chief. Usopp's exaggerated stories spread across oceans and spread to other places. Spread to the kingdom of Goa, spread to the kingdom of Aoiko, spread to different islands and countries in East Blue. The more it spreads, the more outrageous it becomes. At the beginning, in the story, Uncle Usopp was the bravest warrior on the sea. In the new story, Uncle Usopp is the strongest warrior on the sea. Behind him, the invincible warrior next to Uncle Usopp, the sun god. Then it got out of hand. Uncle Usopp actually wants to save East Blue. Uncle Usopp is a great liberation warrior sent by the sun god to save the world. At this time, Usopp also started to get scared, because he realized that he had boasted too much. What's outrageous is that some people actually believe it. Now Usopp dare not leave Zoro's side, or Kuina's side. Kingdom of Aoiko. The current king of Aoiko Kingdom has been unable to sleep for a long time recently. Originally, his throne was obtained by usurping the throne. His own abilities were poor, and he had a series of bad policies during his time in power. As a result, the national power in the Aoiko Kingdom was severely weakened. And because the dragon pirates, who saw the evil dragon, originally wanted to establish a mermaid empire and conquer the eastern Blue Sea. During the period when the dragon pirates ruled the Kanam Islands, they also continued to invade the kingdom of Oikot. Because the king himself was in an unfair position, he was not recognized and protected by marine, and no other country was willing to provide military help. After years of war, the country's strength has become increasingly weak. Finally, I heard that the dragon pirates were wiped out by another pirate. I haven't been happy for a few days. A strange belief suddenly appeared in the kingdom of Aoiko. What is the name of the sun god, the great liberation fighter Usopp? It also promotes the coming of a future world where everyone is equal and everyone has food to eat. Liberation fighters want to liberate their suffering. This is a big deal. The civilians of the Aoiko Kingdom began to rebel. There is even a shadow of the world government's biggest enemy, the Revolutionary Army. Then, when the Luffy pirates united with the Kanam Islands, Ken led the civilian armed forces. Defeat the former royal family of the Aoiko Kingdom. The name of Queen Nokigao. In fact, King Aoiko is not afraid. What kind of trouble can the remaining royal family make? But, when Kanam Islands held high the flag of Usopp, the liberation fighter under the great sun god, loudly declared that Uncle Usopp, the strongest warrior on the sea, was their commander-in-chief. When going to attack the kingdom of Oiko, King Oiko is starting to get scared. Because Usopp's bragging was so outrageous that everyone felt that even a fool would not make up such an outrageous lie. So is there a possibility that this is true? Yes, a large number of civilians in East Blue already believe it. What's even more outrageous is that the Kanam Islands actually used this slogan to attack the Aoiko Kingdom. This group of oppressed civilians was boiling. The kingdom of Oiko didn't even have time to organize an army to resist. The current king was killed by the angry civilians. Then, he happily welcomed Mr. Usopp. Meet Queen Nokigao. It only took less than half a day from the time Luffy decided to attack the kingdom of Aoiko to the time the king was overthrown. Strictly speaking, the war has been won before Luffy officially attacks, and of course the one who deserves the most credit is Usopp. The art of war says, attack the city first, attack the heart first. That day, the kingdom of Aoiko declared its re-establishment, and its territory included the Kanam Islands, the Kokonoha Islands, and the Thizia Islands. In the royal palace of Aoiko Kingdom, on the royal platform, under the witness of the people, Queen Nokigao officially ascended the throne and became king. Queen Nakigao conferred the title of Earl on Aegean and became the royal knight commander of the Kingdom of Oikot, responsible for guarding Queen Nakigao. Queen Nakigao canonized Nami, a countess. As the queen's adopted sister, she can enjoy the honorific title of princess. Queen Nachigao made her adoptive mother Belmir a general protector and a marquis. Canonized by Queen Nokigao, guardian of the sun god of the army. It is the official new army of the Kingdom of Aoiko. Cocoyasi village as the Queen's Villa. Declare the previous decree of the false king to be invalid. It was announced that Nakigo was the orthodox royal family and the orthodox queen of the Aoiko Kingdom, and Luffy was the prince of the Aoiko Kingdom. In the capital of the Kingdom of Aoiko, street in the center of civilian alley. Private organizations are organized spontaneously, with wealthy people investing money and ordinary people contributing their efforts. With the approval of Queen Nakigao. Formal casting. Colossal bronze statue of Usopp. Long-nosed Usopp, holding the sun high. There is a faint shadow of Luffy in the sun. The huge base is carved. The bravest warrior on the sea, Usopp, led his 8,000 men to liberate the Kanam Islands and the relief story of the Aoiko Kingdom. There is also the vague appearance of Usopp, the invincible warrior of the sea, and his 3 admirals, Zoro, Kuina, and Sanji. There is also the prophecy that Usopp, under the instructions of the sun god, will save East Blue and save the world. Queen Nakigao designated this national day as the new national day. The common people designated this day as the Liberation Day of the sun god. Kanam Islands, Kokonoha Islands, Thizia Islands. A total of more than 90 towns and all residents. Queen Nokigao's voice came out on the phone, announcing the official establishment of the Kingdom of Oikot, and the whole world celebrated with lanterns and festoons. Because they are a country with complete sovereignty. And Queen Nokigo is a legitimate royal family, the kind that is officially recognized and protected by Marine. It is also a member country of world government. The celebration ceremony of the Kingdom of Aoiko. It's so lively. It's great to have a full stomach every day. Kuina said to Zoro. It's okay, but I also like this kind of life. The wine in Oikot Kingdom is good, and the orange wine in Coco West Village is also great. Zoro said while holding the wine glass. Yes, you have to thank me. Usopp raised his head high with a proud look on his face. The strongest warrior on the sea, why have you been following me lately? Zoro teased Usopp. Zoro, brother Zoro, don't be like this. I'll pour you some wine. Usopp looked flattering. Such a beautiful lady, let's have a drink together. Sanji's eyes were full of love, dancing gracefully among the many beauties, and constantly chatting up different women. There really is a crew like a captain. Kuina complained. Really, I feel like you quite like being with Luffy. Zoro chuckled. Want to fight? Kuina blushed and said angrily to Zoro. I wish I could, we haven't sparred for a long time. Zoro said with a smile. Forget it, let's wait until you recover from your injury, so as not to say that I can't win. Kuina thought for a while and gave up on this unfair duel with Zoro. Speaking of which, I'm surprised that Nami's sister is actually an exiled princess and is now the queen of the Aoiko Kingdom. Usopp said to Kuina. I really didn't expect it. It's like a dream. That big pervert is probably with Nami now. Kuina felt a little melancholy. Haha, you are still the same as when you were a kid. Zoro started laughing again at Kuina's duplicity. Angry, Kuina picked up the scabbard and chased Zoro. Aoiko Kingdom, inside the royal palace. Nokigao put his arm around Luffy affectionately and took him to visit everything in the palace. Speaking of which, the layout of the palace was very different from her childhood memories. Even so, she still knew the full picture of the palace. Speaking of the palace, this is not the first time Luffy has seen it. The palace of Goa Kingdom opens its door to him at any time. As a large agricultural country, the Kingdom of Oiko has some differences in the style of its palace from the Kingdom of Goa. Luffy secretly gave 2 devil fruits to Nokigao. If you don't go to sea with me, I will never worry about you. Give this devil fruit zone elephant fruit forest elephant form to Aegean. He is responsible for your safety. I can only rest assured if I can give him this fruit. This devil fruit paramesha penetrating fruit suits you very well. Aren't you good at using guns? Nokigao looked at the two devil fruits, her eyes a little red. She knew that Luffy had her in his heart. Luffy, are you tired? Nuauchi whispered in Luffy's ear. Well, a little bit. Luffy seemed to understand Nokigao's hint. Hehe, come with me. Keep up with me, I won't wait for you. Nuauchi Gao loosened her arms around Luffy, smiled mischievously, and ran ahead. The palace is still very big. Luffy turned left and right and lost the figure of Nojigao. When we came to a gate, there was no one around. Luffy guessed that Nokigao was in this room. Push the door open hard. The room was completely white. The misty light, passing through the beaded gauze curtains, brings a sense of mystery. The floor inside was wet. The glass windows were covered with a layer of moisture. Luffy focused his eyes. Through the thin white mist, a vague figure can be seen. It turned out to be a large bath. Luffy hurried up. Thump, jump into the bath. Hug the vague and alluring shadow hiding behind the white mist. Nagio, I caught you. Luffy said. The shadow in front was suddenly hugged by Luffy and froze immediately. Haha, dear Luffy, you have arrested the wrong person. Nokigao's cheerful laughter came from the side. When the thick fog dissipated, Luffy discovered that Nokigao was soaking on the other side of the bathtub. The delicate beauty in front was actually Nami, who was also soaking in the bathtub. Nami just blushed and was hugged tightly by Luffy. In an instant, Luffy understood Nokigao's plan. Feel the softness in front. Charming aroma. At this time, only a fool would be willing to let go. Luffy would never admit that he was a fool. And there was no white mist blocking Luffy's vision. In the crystal clear hot springs, the beautiful scenery in front of you is unobstructed. Luffy fell. Play in this romantic and charming water. The bathroom door closed slowly. There is only the rhythmic sound of water, laughter and crying. From time to time, word spreads out the door. ... Driven by Prince Luffy. A few days later, Queen Nokigao of the Kingdom of Oikot and Queen Sally Nandikanet of the Kingdom of Goa had a formal meeting. Publicly declare that the two countries have officially established diplomatic relations. At the same time, as Kaya, Sally, Nokigao, Kuina, and Nami, these Luffy's main palaces can be regarded as officially meeting each other. The smell of gunpowder in the air was a bit strong. Queen Sally Nandikanet met Luffy, whom she hadn't seen for a long time. She and Luffy had a brief moment of tenderness and exchanged many thoughtful words. Then he stared at Nokigao with provocative eyes. Then he spoke, indicating the Countess and other nobles of Goa Kingdom. Luffy is missed. Queen Nokigao responded with a smile to Sally Nandikanet. It is stated that the girls in the Kanam Islands also like Luffy. Kuina and Kaya, after listening to the conversation between the two queens, remained calm and secretly pinched Luffy's waist and stepped on Luffy's feet. If Luffy hadn't been a person with rubber fruit abilities, he would have been secretly strangled to death by these beauties. Luffy at the scene said, "As long as I don't feel embarrassed, others will be embarrassed." When Sanji saw that Luffy had so many beautiful confidants, he was so angry that he cried, and the red lipstick marks on his face no longer looked good. Zoro said that Luffy is addicted to women, and the path to becoming a strong man will not go very far. Women will only affect the speed at which he draws his sword. Usopp covered his face with a bandana to avoid being recognized. Zapu also rushed over, planning to discuss with Luffy. In the kingdom of Aoiko, matters such as introducing Baratie, a maritime restaurant, and opening a branch. Under the leadership of Luffy, the Kingdom of Goa and the Kingdom of Oiko formally formed an alliance and became military and economic allies. Together we can establish maritime military armed forces, commercial exchanges, and cultural exchanges. Aoiko Kingdom, Palace Restaurant. Zoro dragged Sanji, who was crying like mud, away from this Shira field. Usopp hurriedly followed. He didn't want to stay here, so he let Luffy enjoy dating with many beauties alone. Luffy has lunch with his royal family. Sanji's cooking skills are very good. You're welcome, come and taste, taste. Nami said to the people on the table with a smile, as if she was the hostess. Nokigao didn't mind Nami's speech. In her eyes, Nami and she were one. It tastes pretty good, about the same level as my palace chef. Queen Sally refused to admit that her chef was worse than Sanji. With so many dishes on the table, why did Kaya only eat the fish head? Luffy asked Kaya in order to lighten the atmosphere. Silly Luffy, I love eating fish heads, I'll leave the rest to you. Kaya said to Luffy with a smile as always. But I don't like eating just chopped peppers either. Luffy looked at the pile of chopped peppers on the plate with a wry smile. Luffy, I want to have some dessert, can you go get it? Kuina wiped her mouth with a napkin and said to Luffy. Luffy, we want it too. You will go and get it, right? The other girls looked at Luffy with pitiful eyes and said. Luffy thought, do I dare to refuse? You all stare at me like this. Excuse me, what kind of dessert do you like? Luffy smiled to please the palace ladies. Hate it, Luffy, you know exactly what flavor I like. Queen Lisa said, putting her hands on her face. Luffy, why do you ask questions knowingly? Kaya also said to Luffy with a smile. Nami and Nogi Gogan only gave Luffy a look. At this moment, Luffy had never been so scared in his life. His instinct told him that if he took the wrong one, he would die miserably. Zoro, come and save me. The kingdom of Aoiko, the capital seaport, the queen of Goa, and the going merry docked aside. Even the best times must come to an end. Luffy, will you miss me? Nochigao said, hugging Luffy. Yes, Nagio, Luffy said. Nokigao hugged Luffy tightly and kissed his cheek. I'll wait for you to come back. I will always wait for you. Go, Luffy, they are calling you. Nojigao said goodbye to Luffy with tears in his eyes. Luffy also hugged Sally and boarded the Goa Queen. In the cry of seagulls, the two ships disappeared over the horizon. Luffy gave the secret regeneration medicine awarded to him by the system to Zapu. To be honest, he also knows whether it has any effect. He will experiment with Zapu first. If it works, he can use it on Shanks when he meets him later. Luffy has always been brooding about Shanks breaking his arm to save him. Zapu was very curious about this medicine. Although he had been sailing on the Grand Line for a year, he had never heard of anything similar. How to use it? Can you just eat it directly? Zapu asked Luffy. Yes, but you must prepare a lot of meat in advance, because regenerating limbs will consume a lot of physical strength and nutrition. If you don't replenish it in time, you may die on the spot. Luffy explained the secret of regeneration to Zapu with a serious expression. The effect of medicine. Smelly old man, I'm going to prepare it now. Don't eat it yet. Sanji hurried to the kitchen to prepare meat and various nutritious meals. Also, taking this medicine will be accompanied by severe pain, but you cannot be in a coma. Because it regenerates your cells in all aspects. If the food we prepare is not enough, or the person who takes the medicine is not in good physical condition, he will fall into a coma. This medicine will overdraw the body's functions. That person will definitely die. Luffy then told Zapu. Can this medicine heal any wounds? Zoro asked curiously. No, this regeneration secret pill can only regenerate, provided that your consumption system is still there. If the consumption system is gone, there is nothing you can do. As long as you still have a digestive system, this secret medicine can even regenerate your head. Luffy explained. Get out of the way, get out of the way. Sanji pushed the catering cart and pushed in a pile of food. Carne and Patty also entered the room pushing a pile of food. Later, Usopp helped push a pile of food in. The amount of food is almost piled up into a mountain. Sanji, go and prepare a lot of fresh water, and Carne and Patty will also help you, Luffy said. Kaya also prepared a pile of medical equipment nearby. When everything was ready, Zapu took the regeneration secret pill at Luffy's instruction. The screams of Zapu, a tough guy, could be heard throughout the ship. Sanji was very nervous. He had never seen Zapu like this. Food and fresh water disappear quickly. That's not enough. Sanji, go and prepare some fresh water and food. Hurry, Luffy urged Sanji urgently. Kaya, inject him with nutrients and strength. Luffy urged Kaya. We were so busy that we all lay on the deck tiredly. The golden braided beard reflects the golden light under the sunlight. A muscular figure was flying in the air, spinning in the air like a golden top. G. His feet immediately caught fire due to friction with the air. It's Devil Windfoot, this stinky old man. And the stinky old man didn't teach me the skill of walking in the air, Sanji said while lying on the railing and looking at Zapu. Hey, he was also seen showing off a series of kicking skills in the air, and the flames generated by the friction between the wind wrapped around his feet and the air quickly flew away in all directions. Devil Wind Kicks. Hell Dance. The rocks blocking the ship were smashed into pieces. Like a light swallow, he landed on the sea rock and made a sound of G. G. After a while, 2 concave marks appeared on the sea rock, which were the footprints of that person. Then I saw him take a leap, step on the air, and walk up to the sky. There is a seagull on each foot, and the arms are folded across the chest. Fly in the air, look into the distance, and look down on all living beings from a high place. Awesome. The man with the golden braided beard is Zapu. Zapu recovered from his broken leg and looked younger. What an amazing kicking skill. Much better than a certain smoking chef. Zoro blocked the sun with his palms and praised Zapu's kicking skills. I really didn't expect that the smelly old man would be so strong after his leg recovered. Sanji said he was very happy that Zapu had recovered his broken leg, so he ignored Zoro's ridicule. Boss. Woohoo. That's great. The boss's leg has really recovered. I'm so touched. Carne and Patty hugged each other and cried, smearing each other's noses with snot. Hee, red-footed Zapu is well deserved. Luffy covered the sun with his palm and looked at Zapu and said. Zapu, who was stepping on the seagull, tapped the seagull under his feet, rolled over and landed on Going Merry. Ha ha ha, it feels really good to have feet. Zapu laughed happily. According to the agreement, Uncle, you will join my pirate ship from now on. Luffy said. The chef keeps his word, you don't have to worry about that. Zapu touched his braided beard with his hand and replied with a smile. Now let's go back to the restaurant on the sea. After handling the matter, I will naturally sail with you. Okay, I'll go back to the Gota Queen first. Luffy said with a smile. Rubber slingshot. Luffy stretched his hand and bounced back to the Goa Queen. Sea restaurant Baratie. Boss, it's this girl. She named you to challenge you and win the title of the strongest chef in East Blue. Baratie's chef saw Zapu and Sanji coming back and hurried forward, pointing to the sea restaurant with his finger. Gate. Carmen, a beautiful girl with pink hair, stood at the entrance of the restaurant on the sea, waiting anxiously with kitchen utensils in hand. Oh, what a beautiful girl. I didn't expect that there would be such a beautiful girl waiting for me when I came back. Sanji quickly stepped forward, bent down and held the girl's hand. Ignore that stinky old man, let's go on a date. After saying that, Sanji planned to kiss her hand. Asshole. Carmen used the kitchen utensils in her hands to hit Sanji and wanted to kiss her on the face. What a passionate girl, Sanji said with a nosebleed. Do you want to challenge me? Win the title of East Blue's strongest chef? Zapu ignored Sanji's farce, or he was already used to it. Every year I want to challenge me and win the title of the strongest chef in the East Blue. There are as many as you want. I have to challenge them all. Do I have to do business? Zapu stroked his golden braided beard and pointed at Sanji, you should defeat this brat first. Zapu ignored Carmen. As he said, his reputation as the #1 chef in East Blue was very valuable. Taking Luffy with them, Usopp and others planned to pass her directly into the restaurant. That straw hat and that long nose, are they really legendary? Carmen wanted to argue with Zapu, but her eyes were attracted by Luffy's group behind Zapu. Morty, come out quickly, aren't they? Carmen turned around and ran into the sea restaurant Baratie, shouting loudly. Luffy's group and Zapu looked at each other with a big question mark on their heads. Didn't she just say that she wanted to challenge your strongest chef? Usopp asked Jep. After a while, another more beautiful blonde walked out of the restaurant. Compared to Carmen, she is more mature and has more graceful manners. Beautiful lady, haven't you been to our restaurant for dinner before? Sanji rushed up to chat with the beauty again. You still remember me? The sous chef has a really good memory. The blonde beauty said to Sanji with an elegant smile. My name is Morty. I came to dine with Marine Captain Heboldy, the young sous chef. After saying that, the blonde beauty also gestured with her hand to drink red wine from a goblet. Sanji was so happy that his eyes sparkled with love as he circled around the two beauties. It's them, right, Morty? Carmen pointed at Usopp with a long nose and Luffy with a straw hat. Morty looked at Luffy and Usopp, was silent for a while, nodded, and said, "That's right. It was them, Sally Nankinet, who gave me the photo." "Are they the legends that spread throughout the East Blue recently? Guardian of the Sun God, savior of East Blue, Usopp, the strongest liberation fighter on the sea. As long as I promise to give him a child, I can help the exiled princess return to her country." Princess Hunter Straw Hat Luffy. The world's greatest swordsman, the three-sword swordsman who is undefeated against the pirate hunter Roro Zoro. One person can destroy an entire army with one sword, a female swordsman who is as good as any other woman, Shimotsuki Kuina, the White Sword Princess. Pink-haired Carmen jumped up happily and asked Morty loudly in an incredible tone. "Although Sally Nankarnet told me the true story, the rumors are a bit exaggerated, but they are no different from the truth," Moti said to Monka. "If he can really do it, it's not impossible. Right, Sister Morty?" Carmen looked at the handsome Luffy and said coyly with a red face. Morty stared at Luffy, thinking for a moment, but didn't answer. Zoro grabbed Usopp's collar with both hands and lifted him up. Usopp was fussy in the air but didn't dare to struggle. Zoro asked, "Usopp, what nonsense are you bragging about again? Tell Lousy quickly." Kuina also looked at Usopp fiercely, holding the hilt of the sword with her other hand. The sweat on Usopp's forehead flowed like a waterfall, and his eyes did not dare to look at Zoro. "I drank too much at the time. I don't know. I really don't know anything. Please, two great swordsmen, don't hit me. Woo-woo. Excuse me, are you looking for us specifically?" Nami heard Carmen's words and immediately felt a sense of crisis. He immediately put his arm around Luffy and looked at Morty and Carmen with hostile eyes. "Well, they are very beautiful, especially that Morty, not simple. It would be more appropriate for us to chat while we eat, and Carmen also has to compete with the handsome sous chef. We can just act as judges." Morty chuckled at Nami's chicken-like look on the food. "No problem, the kitchen is for you to use. According to the usual rules, when serving a meal, the name of the chef cannot be announced. After the dishes are tasted and rated, which chef made the dish will be revealed," Zapu said, touching his golden braid. "If you win Sanji, I will give you the opportunity to challenge me and see if you, a little girl, can take the title of East Blue's #1 chef from me. If you lose to Sanji, then you will stay and work for 3 years. If you fail to challenge me, you will have to pay a price. There are many chefs like you in my kitchen." Zapu had his hands behind his back, and Deo was already in the chef's position. The feeling of being at the pinnacle of the world and feeling overwhelmed by the cold. "I don't have a problem," Carmen, a beautiful girl with pink hair, said. "I agree." Facing the competition of cooking skills, Sanji put away his sultry expression. Chop, chop, chop. The kitchen knife made a very rhythmic sound on the cutting board. Sanji and Carmen showed their amazing knife skills to everyone, and Zapu nodded to express his approval of them. Only good knife skills can handle good ingredients. Zoro and Kuina, on the other hand, expressed surprise that Sanji had such good swordsmanship, and it would be a pity not to practice swordsmanship. After both parties processed the ingredients designated by Zapu, they went to the kitchen to cook dishes with the same theme. Luffy and his friends sat at the same table as Morty, waiting for their work. Usopp was beaten so hard by Zoro that he could only pester Zoro, begging him to protect him, the so-called strongest warrior on the sea. Although Kaya is still smiling, Luffy is already familiar with Kaya's character, so naturally he won't think that she really doesn't mind. Moreover, Kaya is pregnant, so Luffy only needs to coax her desperately. Nami was openly hugging Luffy, but in fact, she was secretly under the table, pinching Luffy's waist with her hands. "Princess Hunter, okay Luffy, you still have this title," Nami said, tugging on Luffy's ear. "It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. Nami, please use less strength." Luffy tried to please Nami. In fact, as a rubber man, Luffy couldn't feel this kind of strength at all, but in order to vent his anger on Nami, he had no choice but to cooperate with her. Pretending to be in pain worked. Nami stopped pulling Luffy's ears when she felt better. Luffy put his hand around Nami's waist, and put his other hand around Kaya's waist, and said to the two of them affectionately, "In my heart, you are both my princesses. Who doesn't like to hear love words?" Kaya and Nami didn't express it on their faces, but they were still sweet in their hearts. You know Sally Nankinet. After finally coaxing the two principals, Luffy took the time to ask Morty. Yes, Sally Nankarnet and I are considered best friends. She and I often communicate using phone bugs. Occasionally, I will go to Goa Kingdom to have a small gathering with her. Morty gently shook the red wine glass with one hand, held the side of his face with the other hand, and answered Luffy's question in a relaxed tone. Serve, serve. The chefs at the sea restaurant are loading their trays with one hand one after another. Led by Carne and Patty. Divide into two teams with their own palettes and stand in parallel lines in an orderly manner. On the tray are hot dishes carefully prepared with the same ingredients. Served on the table for Luffy's gang and Morty. The aroma is fragrant, and the appearance is crystal clear. According to the previous agreement, we cannot say who the chef of these works is. Everyone at Luffy can only rate these delicacies on appearance, taste, and aroma. Sanji and Carmen come to decide the outcome. Therefore, unlike ordinary meals, everyone tastes it carefully. At the same time, when there is no communication between each other, they secretly rate and explain the reasons why they rate the way they do. It has to be said that Sanji and Carmen are East Blue's first-class chefs, and they use all their skills to prepare delicious food. Even Kaya, who has eaten various delicacies at East Blue, is still picky about Morty. It is also difficult to distinguish between these delicacies. Not to mention Kuina and Zoro, as long as they have enough to eat, they will be swordsmen. However, the inconspicuous Usopp hidden in the crowd gave a pertinent opinion on these delicacies. As chefs, Sanji and Carmen had to admit that Usopp's ratings were the most standard. Nami looked at Usopp with admiration. Seeing that Usopp spoke eloquently in front of everyone, Sanji and Carmen nodded in agreement, and even Jep agreed with some of Usopp's views. Luffy was upset, and he also wanted to show off his holiness in front of others. Usually it was him, Luffy, who showed off his holiness in front of everyone. But there was no way this time. He didn't know how to cook. In his eyes, food could be eaten as long as it wasn't unpalatable. When he was a child, he even ate earthworms and poisonous mushrooms. Actually, it's pretty average. There's a lot of room for improvement. Luffy crazily stuffed food into his mouth while commenting on the dishes on the table. Food that doesn't shine is not good food. Luffy burped after eating and drinking, and said nonsense seriously. Captain the big pervert, you started talking nonsense again. Kuina put one hand on her forehead and said angrily. Don't pretend to understand if you don't understand, you big fool. Nami also covered her eyes with her hands, unable to complain. Thanks to Luffy, you know so much. Kaya said with a smile while drinking black tea. Anyone with a discerning eye would know that Kaya was coaxing Luffy to avoid Luffy's embarrassment. Tisk, tisk. Morty drank red wine while hiding his laughter. You idiot captain, what are you talking about? Don't think about me cooking anything for you in the future. Sanji said through gritted teeth. He who valued cooking skills was angered by Luffy. HMPH. You eat so much even if you don't like the taste. Carmen crossed her hands on her chest and said angrily. Only Jep blinked and looked at Luffy as if he wanted to get to know him again. The last time Luffy said something shocking was during the showdown between Zoro and Hawkeye. What he said can only progress if people understand the huge gap between them. Ha 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 ha. Thinking of this, Zapu laughed so much that his golden braids shook, and tears came out of his eyes. Zapu stood up from his seat, touched his beard with his hand, and said, well, I didn't plan to take action at first. Straw Hat Boy piqued my interest. It's time for young people to see the skills of East Blue's #1 chef. You brats and pink-headed girls, keep your eyes open and learn from it. Zapu solemnly rearranged his tall chef's hat, washed his hands repeatedly with water, picked up a lively sea fish, and threw it on the big cutting board. Zep closed his eyes. He gently stroked the fish with his left hand. Use sight, smell, and color to perceive the bones, meat, and internal organs of the fish. Just as you would your lover, gently pick up the kitchen knife in his hand. Wrap with armed colors. Turn the kitchen knife in your hand black. Not too many fancy moves, just a gentle wave. The fish meat and bones were all separated, and the fish scales flashed in the air and fell to the ground. He gently shook the black knife tip, but it didn't touch the fish meat. The fish meat is natural and spreads out piece by piece along its own muscle stripes. Zapu slapped the chopping board hard, and the fish fillets, as thin as cicada wings, danced and flew in the air like butterflies. Zapu took out a huge ice cube, and with a series of carvings, it turned into a large ice plate like crystal. At this moment, the butterfly-like sashimi danced lightly onto the large ice tray that Zapu had prepared in advance. Zapu used the lid with his backhand to cover the plate carved from ice. Throw various spices in the air and smash them with a swing of the kitchen knife. Throw it into the sauce he prepared and put it on a plate. The right tray came to Luffy. Lift the lid with your left hand. In the light of the window, the whole plate of sashimi emitted a dazzling light that blinded everyone. It turns out that Luffy didn't lie, top cuisine will shine. Carmen and Sanji rushed forward, and without waiting for anyone else to react, they picked up a piece of fish with their chopsticks, dipped it in the sauce, and it melted in their mouths. The fish fillet is served with a special sauce. In the mouths of Sanji and Carmen, it turned into a butterfly and danced gracefully. Others also started to taste the glowing food and what it tasted like. All are sunk in. Zapu uses simple sashimi, created in a food fantasy. I lost, Sanji and Carmen said in unison. Dream cuisine. This is the rumored dream dish. It turns out that the legendary dream food can shine. Chapter 51. It turns out that the legendary dream cuisine does exist. And dreamy cuisine really shines. Other chefs on the scene also rushed up to taste Zapu's dream cuisine. To be honest, they have been working here for so many years. I have never seen Zapu cook such a legendary dish. Carne and Patty were moved to tears while eating. I didn't expect that the smelly old man's cooking skills were so good. I thought I had surpassed him in both playing and cooking. I was too arrogant. Is this the cooking skills of East Blue's #1 chef? I, Carmen, want to worship him as my master. Sanguine and Carmen, close your mouth and eyes and keep savoring the deliciousness in your mouth. It turns out that food really shines. That idiot wasn't lying. This sashimi is so delicious. Nami held her face in her hands, looking intoxicated, thinking to herself. Brother Luffy, you are indeed very knowledgeable. I actually doubted him just now. Wait until I apologize to him. Kaya thought while savoring the delicious food. Kaya's face suddenly turned red as she thought about it, as if she had thought of some ways to apologize that Luffy liked. It's really surprising that I was lucky enough to experience the legendary dream cuisine and the knowledge of this person wearing a straw hat. No wonder Queen Lisa, who has always been proud, also committed herself to him. So, Lisa wasn't lying. He can help me and Carmen. Morty was a little shocked today. On the one hand, I met the first chef of East Blue, Zapu, showcasing the legendary and amazing dream cuisine. On the other hand, she was even more impressed by Luffy's knowledge and believed that he was the one who could help her. Zoro and Kuina marveled at the deliciousness and magic of the legendary dream cuisine. But they were even more shocked. The scene where Zapu uses a black kitchen knife to easily separate the fish meat. The person who was actually the most shocked was Luffy. When I saw Zapu lift the lid, the whole plate of sashimi glowed brightly. Luffy was dumbfounded, and in a state of shock. No, I'm just talking nonsense. Is this okay? Of course Luffy would not admit that he was talking nonsense. Luffy couldn't afford to lose this person. As an expert in bragging, Usopp has many years of bragging experience and his keen intuition tells him that Luffy was telling nonsense like him before. But I didn't expect it to actually exist. Is this the highest level of bragging? Turn falsehood into truth, breaking Usopp's new understanding of bragging. At this moment, Usopp admired Luffy so much that his eyes were filled with stars. Luffy can't stand Usopp's eyes. He's not gay, he likes his big sister. Ha ha ha, I really didn't expect that a young boy like you would actually know that the legendary fantasy food can glow. Zapu said, stroking his golden braided beard. Based on your age, little boy, you wouldn't have known that the legendary dreamy food could glow. Because the last time the luminous dream cuisine appeared, it was a competition between me and 2 other top chefs to compete for the world's best chef. Zapu recalled. I remember that the chef's name was Bao Bao, and he was the chief chef of the 4 emperors. The other one is Dracula Mihawk. Of course, his other title is even more resounding. The world's greatest swordsman. Zapu told this little-known past in a very calm tone. Because my grandpa, he knew, he told me. Luffy was so stubborn that he lied again. Who is your grandfather? Zapu asked. Then who won the game? Sanji's interrupted Zapu's question. Sanji's didn't care who Luffy's grandfather was, he wanted to know the result of the game. Of course I won, Zapuri said angrily. In his understanding, becoming the world's best chef with his cooking skills seems to be a matter of course. Everyone present was shocked. Luffy and the others were stunned. Teacher Zapu, please accept me as your disciple. Carmen immediately put down all her posture, bent down and bowed to worship Zapu. Little pink girl, if you lose the game, you will have to work for me for 3 years, not as my apprentice. Boss. No, master, accept us. Carne and Patty each hugged one of Zapu's thighs, with tears and snot stained on Zapu's pants. Boss. The other chefs also cried with runny noses and fell to their knees. Zapu crossed his arms and was unmoved by this scene. I have agreed to become a member of the Straw Hat Pirates, and now I have no time to accept a disciple. But you two young girls, didn't you have something to ask for from me, a young captain? Zapu's words made Morty and Carmen come back to their senses from the shock of being the world's best chef. I remembered my true purpose of coming here. Luffy's group also turned to look at Morty and Carmen because of Zapu's words. The blonde beauty Morty stood up from the dining table, looked around at the people present, and finally focused on Luffy. Reintroducing me, my name is Morty, her name is Carmen, we are both exiled princesses. Nami held up the side of her face with one hand, showing an expression that was true, and then quietly reached out under the table with the other hand and pinched Luffy hard. Yes, I was hesitant before, but now I have the courage to make up my mind. Morty sat down again. Morty leaned back in his chair, swaying slightly, with red wine in the goblet. Tell her story in a soothing tone. In fact, Morty is the escaped princess of the kingdom of Rurikra. The kingdom of Lulakara has developed commerce and huge wealth. Right in the middle of the sea between Baratie on the sea and Dawn Island of Goa Kingdom. Located in the East Blue Mirabelle Islands. The kingdom of Glaucola is a medium-sized country centered on the capital and connected by bridges to different islands in the Mirabelle Islands. At the same time, it is an economically developed commercial country among the East Blue countries. Because the kingdom of Rurikra is not far from the kingdom of Goa, and the two kingdoms have always had contacts with each other, Princess Morty and Princess Sally became friends. The kingdom of Glaucola is world famous for its glass production. Half of the world's glass is produced in this country. Commerce is developed, so the people in Modi's country, the kingdom of Lulakara, have a high standard of living and the living environment is quite beautiful. The place where the capital is located is called Glass Bead Island. Because glass beads are the best made, it is called Glass Bead Island. The kingdom of Glass Carrot is not only the country of glass, but also the country of fashion. In the world of pirates, the headquarters of the most famous clothing brand Doskoipanda is located on this island. The clothes of Luffy, Nami, Sanji, etc. are all from this brand. The kingdom of Lulakara is also the country of dancing, and people from other countries also call it the kingdom of dancing heaven. When the kingdom of Rurikara was prosperous, it often held various dance competitions. Marine Captain Heboldy likes to dance and often participates in dance competitions. Django of the Crow Pirates also likes to dance and has participated in dance competitions. It is said that even Kaido, one of the 4 emperors and one of the 3 plagues under his control, once participated in a dancing competition on Glass Bead Island and won first place. However, the tragedy is also due to the huge wealth. Because commerce is developed, almost everyone in our country is doing business. Because they are too rich, few citizens of the Rurikra kingdom are willing to join the army. The royal family of the kingdom of Rurikra, except for the royal guard, the other forces that defend the country are mercenaries. He also spent a lot of Bailey to ask the marine headquarters to set up a marine branch nearby to protect the kingdom of Rurikra. However, the nightmare still happened. The Marines who protected our country colluded with local pirates, and the mercenaries originally hired by our country also rebelled. That night, the palace of the Rurikra kingdom was breached and the king was assassinated. Only I, Princess Morty, escaped the disaster because I planned to secretly play with Princess Sally. Morty took a sip of red wine with his red lips and moistened his throat. Later, I concealed my name, met Marine Captain Heboldy, and used his identity as Marine to leave the kingdom of Rurikra. First can't ask Marine for help. I don't know if First can trust Marine anymore. Later, I heard that Princess Sally was already the Queen of Goa Kingdom. I originally planned to ask her for help, but she introduced you to me. Princess Hunter, Luffy, she said you would help me. Morty looked at Luffy again and smiled meaningfully. After listening to Morty's story, Kaya and Nami felt somewhat sympathetic, and their hostility towards Morty also dissipated a lot. Kaya is in trouble because of Morty's fortune. Nami is because of Morty and also because the pirates and Marine colluded with each other, resulting in the destruction of their family. Sister Morty has finished speaking, it's my turn. Carmen quickly stood up and turned Luffy's attention to her. Actually, I am the little princess of the kingdom of Cocoyasi. Although I don't look like a princess, and I don't have the temperament of a princess like Sister Morty, I am indeed a princess. My country, the kingdom of Cocoyasi, is just a small country on the Blue Sea in the east, not far from the Red Line. The East Blue is known as the country of cooking, but it can be said that it is a country with little presence. And the kingdom of Cocoyasi is not a member of the world government. In fact, only half of the countries in the world are willing to join world government. As a small neutral country, the kingdom of Cocoyasi is not eligible to join. However, for some reason, my country, the kingdom of Cocoyasi, is being targeted by North Blue's kingdom of Germa. They went right across the Red Line to the East Blue and invaded my country. Hearing this, Sanji's face looked a little uncomfortable, as if he was recalling something bad. Because the kingdom of Cocoyasi is not a member of the world government, First can't ask Marine for help. While wandering around as a chef, I met Sister Morty by chance. Sister Morty took me to meet her good friend, Queen Sally. Queen Sally tells us the story of Queen Nakigo of the kingdom of Aoid. Reminds me of the legend of East Blue, guardian of the sun god, Princess Hunter. So the legend is true, Carmen said, staring at Luffy. Like a hungry wolf staring at a delicious piece of meat. Want my help? Are you willing to help me have a baby? Luffy said to Morty and Carmen with a smile. To be honest, Morty is very beautiful and fits Luffy's aesthetic requirements, and of course Carmen is not bad either. I do, Carmen said with a blushing face, which looked unique with his pink hair. In particular, she deliberately presented her career line in front of Luffy openly. Morty smiled slightly, pushed away his chair, stood up, raised his head and poured all the red wine in the goblet into his mouth, doing the whole thing in one go. Wearing red high-heeled shoes, she walked up to Luffy in an elegant manner, lifted Luffy's chin with her long fingers, and lowered her head to look at each other. Luffy felt Morty's soft touch and breath coming from the pavement. Just like that, Morty fed the red wine directly into Luffy's mouth. Now, Morty challenged Luffy, ignoring the looks of others. An angry Kuina, holding the hilt of Wado Ichimonji's sword. Ah, 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 Zoro and Usopp were attracted by the screams. It turns out that the scream came from Sanji. Sanji saw the beautiful Carmen blushing in front of Luffy and promised to give him a child. Seeing the noble and elegant Morty, he fed Luffy wine in a special way. When I think about it, the gentle Kaya, the naughty and cute Nami, and the dashing and heroic Kuina are all Luffy's confidants. He can't stand it anymore. He couldn't accept it for a while, why the person surrounded by so many beauties was not him. Why not him? Sanji screamed and spun like a top. Zapu really couldn't stand this disciple. With a quick kick, the wind knocked Sanji unconscious. What do you mean, Captain? Zep asked Luffy. As an old pirate, Zapu respects the captain's decision. Are you still asking? If I can't conquer a mere East Blue, why should I be the pirate king? In order for the sea restaurant Baratie to open throughout the East Blue, this is what must be done. It's just a matter of convenience, Luffy said impassionedly and loudly. Zoro and Usopp almost came to a close, as Luffy's speech aroused strong fighting spirit. Forehead. If it weren't for the red lip marks on Luffy's face. ... This time I returned to Baratie, the restaurant on the sea. It was Zapu who wanted to hand over the restaurant to Carne and Patey for full management. This way, he has no worries and can accompany Straw Hat Luffy to explore the Grand Line again. Looking for the legendary All Blue. Now the captain feels that it is necessary to help Morty and Carmen restore their country. Then Zapu fully supports it. Especially after his foot recovers, he doesn't think this is a particularly difficult problem. He is red-footed Zep, the world's greatest chef and great pirate. In this way, everyone left the sea restaurant Baratie. Zoro, Zepp, Sanji, and Usopp boarded Going Merry. Luffy, Kaya, Kuina, Nami, Morty, and Carmen boarded the Goa Queen. Let's head towards the kingdom of Cocoyasi first. Under Carmen's guidance, we soon arrived at the kingdom of Coria. The kingdom of Coria is, as Carmen said, a small country. The red brick castle palace with pointed corners is backed by the Red Line and surrounded by the mountains of the Red Line. Only the front of the country faces the sea. Theoretically, it is a country that is easy to defend but difficult to attack. It's a pity that I encountered the Germa kingdom of North Blue. The kingdom of Germa directly uses large wall-climbing snails to cross the Red Line. Arrive at East Blue and attack the kingdom of Coria. Faced with a sudden attack, the safest place is the Red Line Mountains, which is completely undefended by the army. The kingdom of Coria fell without even holding on for a single night. That was the day Carmen became a fugitive princess, pretending to be a commoner and escaping to a passenger ship to work as an apprentice cook. On the same day, Sanji became a fugitive prince and fled the kingdom of Germa, pretending to be a commoner and escaping on the same passenger ship to work as a chef apprentice. Fate is so bizarre. Later, this passenger ship encountered the chef pirates, and the big pirate at that time, Red-Footed Zepp, encountered another big storm. Then Sanji and Red-Footed Zepp went into exile on an isolated island. Red-Footed Zepp broke his leg in order to save Sanji and lost everything. Carmen, on the other hand, had been working hard on the passenger ship from being an apprentice to a chef because of the strong wind and waves, and later became a famous chef in East Blue. Now, after going around in circles, Red-Footed Zepp, Carmen, and Sanji came to the kingdom of Coria again. Destiny is so elusive. In fact, Sanji also fully supports Carmen's restoration of the country. He hates everything about Germa Kingdom. The kingdom of Germa conquered the kingdom of Coria. Let the kingdom of Coria officially become the kingdom of Germa, part of the country. Originally, the kingdom of Germa only wanted to use the kingdom of Coria as a springboard for the conquest of Dongfang Lan, an outpost, and become a country that only valued military affairs. Therefore, there is no plan to build the kingdom of Coria. Later, the kingdom of Germa was jointly confronted by other countries in North Blue. As a last resort, only a few clone troops were left behind, and then they retreated. However, for ordinary countries in East Blue, the replica soldier army of the kingdom of Germa is already an invincible target. On that day, in the kingdom of Coria, the people prayed for the savior of East Blue. The bravest warrior on the sea, Mr. Usopp. Princess Hunter Straw Hat Luffy. Coming. The Queen of Goa and the Going Merry quietly approached the port of the kingdom of Coria. Luffy followed the original plan and stretched his whole body into a rope ladder. Let Zoro, Kuina, Sanji, Usopp, Zepp, and Carmen sneak onto the island. Kaya, Nami, and Morty stayed on the Goa Queen. Luffy and the others arrived, and Sanji and Carmen had stayed in the village of Kikisi, a town in the kingdom of Coria. After arriving in the village, everyone looked up at a wooden statue in silence. Usopp found out that it was really outrageous that her mother opened the door for outrageous things. There is actually a wooden statue with a long nose holding the sun high in the west village of Kikishi. Although it's not particularly similar, it looks like Usopp no matter how you look at it. Is it Usopp, the guardian of the sun god, the savior of East Blue, and the strongest liberation fighter on the sea? Well, Usopp is in Coco West Village, bragging. It's already reached here. Actually, this is a good thing. We can use Usopp's name to get the villagers to cooperate with us, so that we are not easily exposed. Sanji said. No, they are just civilians with little fighting power. There is no need to implicate them. Usopp said. He deeply understands how powerless an ordinary person is. He is an ordinary person. If they don't even have the determination and courage to protect their country, even if we help Carmen regain her country, it will be meaningless. Luffy expressed his opinion. I agree, Captain. Zoro said. Usopp, you'd better use your expertise and fool the villagers here. Kuina also advised Usopp. Sanji, Usopp, Carmen, you are responsible for persuading the surrounding civilians to reduce armed resistance. Sanji, you are mainly responsible for protecting Carmen's safety. Luffy began to give the captain's order. Wait while I use Devil Fruit's ability to open the city gate first. Then we will attack directly. Luffy turned to Zoro, Kuina and Zapu and said. Don't be afraid, I'm here. I've robbed many countries like this in the past. Zapu said, stroking his golden braid. So Luffy and Usopp split into two groups. Usopp started shouting loudly. The strongest and bravest warrior on the sea. Take the sun god with you to liberate the kingdom of Coria. Carmen declared from the side. She succeeded as the legitimate royal family. Bring reinforcements to the legendary sea warrior and princess hunter. Return to restore the kingdom of Coria. With their constant encouragement. Unconsciously, their team became more and more crowded. There are civilians who were originally dissatisfied with the rule of the Germa kingdom. Some people believe that the maritime liberation fighters came to rescue them. Some also believe that Princess Carmen brought the princess hunter. Join this team one after another. It's just in a corner that Usopp and the others didn't discover. Someone is secretly using a phone bug to contact others. Commander Bello Betty, I encountered a special situation like this. What's the matter? Didn't I ask you to lurk in the kingdom of Coria? A somewhat lazy female voice came from the phone. The rumored sea warrior has actually appeared. Now we have begun to encourage people to participate in the activities to liberate the kingdom of Coria. There was a silence from the phone bug, and after a long time. Don't reveal your identity, use our previous secret power to help them. I'm rushing over now to see who they are. On the other side, the clone army is indeed much stronger than East Blue's ordinary army. These clone soldiers that have been genetically modified by blood are quite powerful. The fight between Zoro and Kuina was not easy. It was impossible to deal with the ordinary soldiers of Aoiko Kingdom as easily as before. It feels like fighting the leaders of the Dragon Pirates. These ordinary replica soldiers have the strength of the leaders of the Dragon Pirates. On the contrary, for Luffy, even the captain of this group of clone soldiers is only at the level of a saw dragon. He is no match for the second gear. The only troublesome thing is that the current Luffy cannot be left in second gear for too long. Zoro and Kuina felt a little anxious when they saw Luffy's performance. After all, in the beginning, the two of them were no worse than Luffy. In just a few days, Luffy has surpassed both of them in strength. But what is exaggerated is that Zapu, the world's #1 combat chef, walking like a leisurely garden. It seems like the army of replica soldiers in front. It's like flying out on your own initiative when you see him. Mr. Zapu, why don't you use your hands? Zoro asked. A chef's hands are for cooking, not for beating people. Zapu shook his golden braided beard and expressed his fighting philosophy. Mr. Zapu, how do you hit such a strong leg wind? Kuina asked Zapu after knocking down a clone soldier. Oh, this is hockey, so if you want to break into the Grand Line, you must learn this. Zapu put his hands in his pockets and waved one foot, leaving a clear space in front of him. That day Zapu had his hands in his pockets, not knowing who his opponent was. According to the original plan, Luffy opened the city gate secretly. Zoro, Kuina, Zapu planned to use the fastest speed. Destroy the remaining armed forces of the Kingdom of Germa in the Kingdom of Coria. But Luffy and the others didn't expect it. The clone soldiers of the Kingdom of Germa who stayed behind in the Kingdom of Coria. The number is very large and the strength is very strong. Plans to move forward quickly failed. And because the battle was very noisy. Let the Kingdom of Germa clone the army. Stay at the top of the Kingdom of Coria. Noticed. At this time, the other side, Usopp and Carmen are under the protection of Sanji. The resistance forces in the Kingdom of Coria have been organized. With a large number of troops, he marched towards the palace of King Coria. And Luffy and the others haven't met up with Usopp and Sanji yet. Comrades of the Kingdom of Coria, the light of the sun god shines upon you. Now we are ready to storm the palace gate and overthrow the rule of the Kingdom of Germa, today. Usopp shouted loudly. What follows is a wave of responses. Both Sanji and Carmen had to admire Usopp, able to brag in front of a group of people without changing his expression. If Carmen hadn't been following Usopp all the time and knew his details. Also got scammed by Usopp. Usopp said, talking about bragging. Compared to my captain, I'm still far behind. Boom. They didn't wait for Usopp to attack. The city gate of King Kokia's palace opened with a loud bang. Bang, bang. Walk out from the middle of the city gate. A dark group of replica soldiers. The leader was a tall man. Just see him. He wears a silver helmet and has short blonde hair. With strange eyebrows. Wearing strange armor and a black cape with 66 on it behind him. The long white gloves held a strange long knife. Silver belt with 66 logo. Wear black combat boots with 66 logo. The person who came was none other than the first-class marquis of the royal family of the Kingdom of Germa. A branch of the Vinsmoke family, Vinsmoke government. It was also the Kingdom of Germa that stayed behind in the Kingdom of Coria. Supreme Commander. Top combat personnel. Are they the remaining rebels from the Kingdom of Coria? Vinsmoke Kaneji said with a crooked neck. I said before, don't leave any civilians in the Kingdom of Coria, just kill them. We have many clone soldiers anyway. It's a pity that Vinsmoke Judge, who is jealous of the world government's reaction, did not adopt my opinion. In the end, it's me who takes care of these things. When Usopp saw this tall man, his instinct told him to run quickly. His intuition told him again that he couldn't run away. Sanji on the side immediately realized that this was a powerful enemy. With the idea of strike first to gain the upper hand. Immediately, he rushed forward. Mutton shot. This is the strongest kicking technique that Sanji currently possesses. Kicked Vinsmoke Kaneji backwards and hit the city wall. After the smoke and dust dispersed, Vinsmoke Kaneji was protected by the strange armor and did not suffer any harm. Sanji was surprised. I didn't expect his strongest attack. It actually didn't work on this man. Usopp, take Princess Carmen and run. I'll stop him, Sanji shouted. No, you can't beat him, let's go together. The day of liberation is coming. Usopp called loudly, asking all the armed forces he brought to come together. Stop me, what a joke. Just you guys, Vinsmoke Kaneji sneered disdainfully. Let you see the power of Germa technology. Vinsmoke Kaneji waved his strange long sword. Zitsa, the sound of electric current started to sound. Vinsmoke Kaneji's high-tech long knife accumulated high-voltage electric current, and the tip of the knife began to emit white fork-shaped electric current. Vinsmoke electromagnetic spider web. With the tip of the Vinsmoke Kaneji blade as the center, high-voltage current is applied to form a spider web shape. The armed forces of the Kingdom of Coria rushed forward. Usopp and Princess Carmen. They were all electrocuted by Vinsmoke Kanji's blow. As Vinsmoke Kaneji said, Usopp's hastily organized armed forces are nothing more than a mob. I saw that the people in front were beaten, and the civilians of the Kingdom of Coria behind were beaten. I also started to be afraid and started to shrink back. Sanji was the only one who faced the difficulties. Shiro shoot, shoulder shoot, back meat shoot, saddle meat shoot, breast shoot, leg meat shoot, mutton shoot. Sanji quickly rushed to Vinsmoke Kaneji. Quickly launch a set of combos. In Vinsmoke Kaneji was too late to react. Kick Vinsmoke Kaneji into the air and spin around. Sanji jumped in the air and faced Vinsmoke Kaneji in the air again. Another set of high-speed kick combos. Shiro shoot. Shoulder shoot. ... Leg meat shoot. Mutton shoot. Kicked Vinsmoke Kaneji directly from high altitude to the ground, making a big hole. Sanji kept breathing and sweating beside him, staring at the big hole in the ground. With his current strength, use 3 sets of high-speed, mutton shot, kicks in succession. Still a little bit too much. It's over, phew. Sanji lit up his cigarette and took a long breath. It seems that East Blue also has powerful ants, which is surprising. The voice coming from behind made Sanji shocked. There was someone who could give it his all. Is it okay to hit 3 sets of mutton shot at high speed? How can it be? Among the ruins and bricks, Vinsmoke Janji is a little embarrassed. Climbed out of the pit. His scientific armor. He was hit by Sanji's continuous kicks. The hard shell has become uneven. Unexpectedly, the weakest East Blue actually has someone. You can damage Germa's technological armor to this extent. Vinsmoke Kaneji sounded a little surprised. But that's all. Let you see real kicking skills. Vinsmoke Kaneji dusted himself off and said to Sanji. Vinsmoke explosive kick. Vinsmoke Kaneji's black boots emit a lot of air from the heels. Let him have faster kicking speed. Sanji in front of Vinsmoke Kaneji. There is no way to resist. Vinsmoke explosive shot combo kick. Sanji vomited blood, was kicked away, and smashed into the wall. Vinsmoke Kaneji lends his special black boots. Move quickly to Sanji. Vinsmoke jet boxing. A direct punch hit Sanji's abdomen. Sanji didn't even have the strength to bite Vinsmoke Kanji's cigarette. Cigarettes and blood spurted out of the mouth together. Your looks, eyebrows, are you Vinsmoke Sanji? Vinsmoke Kanji pinched Sanji's neck and took a closer look. Bah, my name is not Vinsmoke Sanji, Sanji yelled. It's a pity. Since you say it's not the case, just pretend it's not the case. Since you are not Vinsmoke Sanji, I can only let you die. Vinsmoke Kaneji picked up the long knife from the ground. High voltage current is accumulated, and the tip of the knife sizzles again. Vinsmoke electromagnetic spikes inserted into Sanji's chest. Devil wind feet fire sparrow dance. Countless flame birds flew towards Vinsmoke Kanji. Rubber whip. Luffy kicked Sanji away from Vinsmoke Kaneji. Rubber rescue. He stretched his arms again. Save Sanji. Sorry, I'm late, Luffy said to Sanji. Thank you for protecting Usopp and Carmen. Luffy sincerely thanked Sanji. Who are you? Are you a revolutionary army again? Vinsmoke Kaneji asked with a frown. Zapu looked at Sanji, who was beaten and bruised. He also frowned and looked at Vinsmoke Kaneji with unfriendly eyes. I disappoint you. We are not a revolutionary army, we are pirates. Down with your pirates. Zapu shook his golden beard with two braids and said. People who know Zapu well know that this is a sign of his anger. I'm sorry, Captain. Can you let me deal with him? Zapu asked Luffy. No problem, leave the rest to Zoro and Kuina and me. Luffy said to Zapu. Luffy placed Sanji on the clean ground. Along with Zoro, Kuina rushed into the darkness of the clone soldiers. Ha ha ha, the people in East Blue are so funny. Even Shichibukai doesn't dare to speak out loud. Say one person can handle me, Vinsmoke Kaneji. You have no idea how terrifying the kingdom of Germa was, which once ruled the entire North Blue. Vinsmoke Kanji held a long knife and pointed it at Zapu. Vinsmoke battle charge. Vinsmoke Kaneji's whole body made a sound of G. The heels of the black boots began to squirt. The armor on his body began to shine. In the long knife in his hand, all the electricity is concentrated on the tip of the knife. G kept ringing. Vinsmoke Kaneji rushed towards Zep at an even faster speed than before. Vinsmoke electromagnetic sweep. The high-tech long knife accumulates high-voltage current, and then uses the erupting black boots to provide the maximum movement speed to sweep all around. All surrounding buildings were smashed to pieces. Zapu put his hands in his pockets, jumped back, and hid. Vinsmoke electromagnetic spider web. With the tip of the Vinsmoke Kaneji blade as the center, high-voltage current is applied to form a spider web shape. Aerial moonwalk. Zapu put his hands in his pockets and quickly hit the air with his feet, moving in the air. Also dodged Vinsmoke Kaneji's skill. Hateful. Vinsmoke Kaneji's black boots sprayed out a large amount of gas and flew into the air. After a short period of energy accumulation, the long knife accumulates more powerful high-voltage current. On a long tip, the current creates a longer tip. Vinsmoke electromagnetic shock sting. With the help of black boots and heel spray, it brings powerful mobility. Zapu is also in the air. There was absolutely no way to avoid it this time. Zapu still had his hands in his pockets. He just stepped on the air and kept spinning. It's like a golden top spinning. His feet immediately caught fire due to friction with the air. Devil wind kick hell dance. Hell dance and electromagnetic shock sting, a powerful collision. Shock wave formed, centered around the two of them. The surrounding building debris was directly cleared. The kingdom of Coria has an armed force composed of civilians. The powerful replica soldiers of the Germa kingdom. All were scattered by the shock wave. Zapu and Vinsmoke Janji were launched at the same time. Crack, click, Vinsmoke Kaneji stood still. First, the long knife broke. The weird armor was also shattered. Vinsmoke Kanji's wounds spurted blood. Stained red. Zapu's boots. You are red-footed Zep. Vinsmoke Kaneji said with his eyes widened and fell to the ground. You soiled my boots, but your boots are nice. I'll just accept it as a trophy. I'll forgive you. Zapu looked at the new boots under his feet. Said to Vinsmoke Kaneji, who was lying motionless on the ground. Vinsmoke Kaneji's fall. The clone army lost their commander. Suddenly the powerful replica soldiers became stupid and could only fight alone. The replica soldiers of the Kingdom of Germa. Don't be afraid of getting hurt and have the courage to charge. Strong obedience and strong strength. Under a frontal attack, none of the powerful countries in the northern Blue Ocean could be a match for the Kingdom of Germa. Not to mention the weakest eastern Blue Sea. The only drawback is that after the commander is defeated, he is like scattered sand. In normal operations, it's okay, there is more than one commander. But now, in the Kingdom of Coria, there is only Vinsmoke Kanegi. A supreme commander. After all, Vinsmoke Judge didn't think about it at the beginning. The weakest eastern Blue Sea. What force can be defeated? The replica army of the Kingdom of Germa. Because he left so many clone soldiers, and Vinsmoke Kanegi, the admiral. In his vision, the Kingdom of Coria was a military springboard. It will not be defeated by the forces of the eastern Blue Sea. Who knows? The Straw Hat Luffy pirates appear out of nowhere. Now, all the advantages of copying soldiers are gone. He was quickly defeated by Luffy, Zoro, and Kuina. Captured alive by the civilian armed forces of the Kingdom of Coria. When Princess Carmen wears the unique pink hair of the royal family, holding high the flag of the Kingdom of Coria, wave vigorously from the highest point of the palace. Announce her return to the whole country. Represent the rule of the Kingdom of Germa. That's how it ended. On that day, the Kingdom of Coria announced its re-establishment. Princess Carmen sat on the throne of the Kingdom of Coria again. From today on, Carmen is the Queen of the Kingdom of Coria. The Kingdom of Coria begins a national celebration. Coria Palace, Royal Meeting Hall. Why did you stop me from publicly executing Vinsmoke Kanji? Queen Carmen asked Zapu in confusion. Do you know the true strength of the Germa Kingdom? Zapu asked Queen Carmen with a serious look. When Sanji heard what Father Zapu said, he remained silent with a dark face. No one here knew the military strength of the Germa Kingdom better than him. In the past, when the beautiful Kaya treated his wounds, he would have been happy. The Kingdom of Germa was once a superpower that unified the northern Blue Ocean. It is said that it possesses high-tech military capabilities that ordinary people cannot understand. With the current strength of our Straw Hat Pirates and your Kingdom of Coria, no match for the Germa Kingdom. Carmen, do you want to experience again what it's like to have your country taken away from you? Still, do you think that after the Kingdom of Coria is conquered again, your people will still recognize you as their queen? Will the Kingdom of Germa let you go, the titular queen? Zapu said to Queen Carmen. Let's imprison Smoke Kanji and those clone soldiers first, Sanji said. Why not leave it to Marine? Usopp asked. No, we gave the ones we defeated to Marine because we could exchange them for money and other plans. Luffy answered Usopp's question. Leaving Smoker Kanji and those clone soldiers to Marine is no different from us going to war with the Kingdom of Germa. Zep said, stroking his beard. Then what to do? Leaving so many clone soldiers is a hidden danger. Queen Carmen said, she was afraid that once Luffy and the others left, Smoker Kanji would take away the Kingdom of Coria at any time. Take the initiative to contact Vinsmoke Judge and exchange them for money. He will agree. Sanji, she said. Why are you so sure? Zoro asked Sanji. I agree with Sanji's opinion. Imprison them all and load them on another ship when the time comes, and we will take them away directly. Luffy made the final decision. Seeing that the captain had made the final decision, others had no objections. When the time comes, I will dislocate them all to prevent them from escaping, Zapu said. It's okay, I'll tie them up, Usopp said positively. There is another question that I think you should pay attention to. Kuina, who had been standing aside for a long time, said. Carmen, you don't have an army you can trust, and you don't have a minister you can trust. Kuina's question immediately stunned Queen Carmen. Indeed, although she is nominally a queen and a queen recognized by the people, the problem is that she has not organized her military troops and administrative ministers team at all. What should we do? Carmen felt that she had returned to the feeling of a wandering cook before. He couldn't help but look at Sister Morty for help. As a small country, the Kingdom of Coria wants to truly have a sense of security. You must be attached to, under the protection of, another country or force. Morty said the answer to Kuina's question. And don't you already have someone you can really turn to? Morty said with a smile. Coria Palace, Royal Meeting Hall. Choice, who? Queen Carmen still didn't understand what Princess Morty said. Don't you understand yet? This is your only choice to include the entire kingdom of Coria under the protection of the Straw Hat Pirates. Zep said to Queen Carmen. Under the protection of the Straw Hat Pirates. The kingdom of Coria, Queen Carmen asked, feeling a little uncomfortable in her heart. Does her country need the protection of the Straw Hat Pirates to survive? Although she successfully returned to the country with the help of Luffy. But in her mind, this was just a deal for her to give Luffy a baby. In the eyes of an old pirate like Zapu, although Carmen is now the queen of the kingdom of Coria, but she completely lacks the awareness and political sense that a queen should have. I still have the wandering chef mentality I had before. She's just a stinky girl who hasn't grown up yet. In this regard, compared to that girl Queen Carmen, the blonde Princess Morty has the potential to be a queen. Of course, Carmen is not a qualified queen, which is actually a good thing for Captain Luffy. A great pirate needs a base. A puppet queen couldn't be more suitable. It's just that Zep still doesn't understand Luffy. In other words, Zapu is still thinking like a pirate. In fact, Luffy's vision goes further than what he sees. In fact, Luffy's ambition is greater than he thought. Compared with the newly joined Zep, Zoro, Nami, Kuina, Kaya, Usopp, they all know what their captain is like. Although I feel unhappy, who told me to fall in love with such a man? Nami thought to herself. The smart little thieving cat already knew what she should do after listening to their conversation for a long time. A smart woman can always capture a man's heart. Nami put her arm around Kuina and Kaya and said, Kuina, Kaya, let's go shopping. I have no money, Kuina said with a cool expression. In fact, she already knew what Nami was thinking. It's okay, I have money, Kaya said with a gentle smile. My Miss Kaya, of course that idiot captain paid for it. And my beauty Kuina, girls should dress nicer. Come on, I'll help you pick out clothes, Nami said with a playful wink. Morty also picked up the small bag in his hand and followed Nami and the others, although Nami did not invite her. But she knew that she had to have a good relationship with them. You brat, come out with lousy. I usually ask you to exercise more, but you spend all your time picking up girls. Now you're being beaten so badly. Zapu dragged Sanji out of the room. Zoro, let's go see what delicious food there is in the kingdom of Coria, which is also known as the country of cooking. Usopp also acted according to the situation and said to Zoro. Zoro held the back of his head with his hands and followed Usopp out of the room nonchalantly. The attentive Zoro closed the door before leaving. Let Captain Luffy and Queen Carmen of the Coria Kingdom. Can be undisturbed, can be alone, can be detailed, can go deep, to discuss the important matter of bringing the entire kingdom of Coria under the protection of the Straw Hat Pirates. Carmen saw that everyone else was using various excuses to leave. Subconsciously, she also wanted to follow in Morty's footsteps and go out together. Unfortunately, Luffy held his hand. Stopped the progress. Luffy, Carmen was a little confused. Luffy pulled back hard. Carmen fell into Luffy's arms. Queen Carmen, weren't you just thinking about the future of the kingdom of Coria? Luffy looked at Queen Carmen struggling in her arms and asked with a smile. Don't you want to know who Morty is talking about asking for help? You don't want to know how the kingdom of Coria can become the protector of me, the Straw Hat Pirates? Luffy's voice rang in Carmen's ears. I want to know. Carmen opened her eyes wide and looked at Luffy, wanting Luffy to give her the answer. Compared with the beginning, when she was passionate about returning to the country, now she really became the queen, but she was actually very uneasy inside. Sister Morty, who usually gave her advice, was also avoiding her at this moment, and she was a little at a loss. I want to know, my Queen Carmen, you are about to fulfill your previous promise. Luffy said to Carmen with a smile. Promise. Carmen was a little confused. Yesterday she was a wandering chef, and now she is the queen of the kingdom of Coria. Because she was not fully mentally prepared, the change in identity made her head a little messy. Carmen never thought that the restoration of the country would be so fast. My Queen Carmen, let me get some interest first. Luffy kissed Carmen directly in his arms. After a few minutes, she let go of Queen Carmen. Then Luffy carried Carmen, who was wrapped in Luffy's arms, to the queen's bedroom in the Coria Palace. I didn't expect that your blush would turn pink. Luffy looked at the shy Queen Carmen and said with a smile. You look so cute with your pink hair. Actually, more than just my hair is pink. Queen Carmen said softly. When Luffy heard this, he was stunned for a while. It was only later that I realized what Carmen meant. Suddenly, Luffy's eyes lit up. Really, you successfully aroused my interest. I want to see if it is pink. Now it's time for you to keep your promise, my Queen Carmen. Don't forget, it's Queen Carmen yourself who wants to give me, Luffy, a child. Carmen, when you truly become my woman, you will naturally receive my blessing. For a moment, the room was filled with pink. When Nami took Kuina and Kaya shopping, Princess Morty had been watching Luffy for a long time and found that Luffy really cared about the feelings of Nami, Kuina and Kaya. Princess Morty feels the need to eliminate the hostility of Nami, Kuina, Kaya and others towards her. In order to gain their favor, Morty got into a relationship with them. I started working as a tour guide on the sidelines. Explain to them the characteristics of the Corgi Kingdom. Most of this is actually what Carmen told Morty. The Corgi Kingdom is rich in Corgi dogs and has a large number of Corgi breeds, so outsiders call it the Corgi Kingdom. Morty began to explain the history and customs of the Corgi Kingdom to Nami and the others. Woof woof. There are always cute and fluffy corgis hanging around the streets. No wonder, there are so many cute corgis everywhere. I wonder if it is difficult to raise one. Kaya said. It's not difficult, Miss Kaya. Morty said to Kaya with a smile. Look, it's very lively in front. In fact, they are holding a pet corgi competition to judge the merits of various corgis. We can go and take a look. Before the kingdom of Corgi was conquered by the kingdom of Germa, there were always corgi competitions. Morty led Kaya to the competition site. Nami had no choice but to drag Kuina along, and said to herself, this Morty is really not that simple. He has attracted Kaya all of a sudden. The corgis of the Corgi Kingdom have always been loved by the entire East Blue and even the celestial dragons. They can be said to be a veritable kingdom of pet dogs. Morty pointed to the corgis on the playing field, completing various instructions from their owners. It's so cute, don't you think so, Nami-chan? Kaya said to Nami. Kaya, who has always been frail and sickly, has no resistance to furry pets. I think Captain Pervert will eat your corgi right away. Kuina said to Kaya on the sidelines. She likes swords and cannot appreciate pet dogs. Really, the corgi is so cute, Luffy actually wants to eat it. Kaya exclaimed. It is indeed possible. Nami also echoed Kuina's statement. Speaking of food, you all know that Carmen has been working as a wandering chef. She is so good at cooking because the Corgi Kingdom is also a country of delicious food. Morty took the initiative of the topic back to her. Sure enough, both Kaya and Kuina were attracted by this topic. This made Nami even more jealous of Morty. The Corgi Kingdom is also ranked among the many gourmet countries. Morty took Nami and his group away from the competition venue and walked towards the food street of the Corgi Kingdom. This country's most famous delicacy is. When Moti said this, he suddenly covered his mouth and laughed. What's wrong? What's so funny? Kuina asked. I just remembered, Miss Kuina, didn't you say that if Miss Kaya kept a corgi as a pet, Luffy would eat her? Morty said with a smile. The most famous delicacies of the Corgi Kingdom are dog meat hot pot, roasted dog meat and other delicacies. Morty covered his mouth and laughed again. What, do you really eat corgis? Kaya said in surprise. Kuina also expressed surprise because she just said it casually. There is nothing we can do. There are too many corgis in the Corgi Kingdom. So the chefs of the Corgi Kingdom used their talents and successfully invented corgi meat dishes. They became famous all over the world. Morty explained why the food of the Corgi Kingdom is so famous. How about we give it a try? Morty said to Kaya with a smirk. I'm afraid I won't be able to speak. Kaya said timidly. Go and eat. You have to try everything. Nami took back the initiative and forcibly dragged Kaya and Kuina into the restaurant. Morty looked at Nami's back and followed with a smile. As soon as I entered the store, I found that Zoro, Usopp, Zepp, and Sanji were all there. Hey, what a coincidence, didn't you go shopping to buy clothes? Zoro said. Sister Morty said that the kingdom of Corgi is a country of delicious food. If you want to buy clothes, it is better to go to the kingdom of Rurikra. Kaya answered Zoro's question. Little girls, come and sit down. The food here is really great. I guarantee it is a chef. Zapu greeted Nami and the others. Sanji also ran up happily and entangled Princess Morty. Among these beauties, only Princess Morty is single now. I still don't dare to say it. Corgis are so cute, Kaya said. Ha ha ha, beautiful Miss Kaya, you really should have a taste. It will be difficult for you to eat after leaving the Corgi kingdom. Sanji pushed the special meat pot in front of Kaya. Kaya couldn't resist Sanji's enthusiasm, so she could only cautiously close her eyes and take a mouthful. So delicious. Seeing Kaya's expression, Nami and Kuina also started eating the special delicacies of the Corgi kingdom. I think just looking at this special delicacy can bring a lot of economic income to the Corgi kingdom. Nami sighed. It's no wonder that Ms. Nami is so sensitive about money. The Corgi kingdom has indeed relied on its reputation for pet dogs and special delicacies to allow its citizens to live a good life. Morty answered Nami's question with an appreciative attitude. Fame brings more than just benefits, Zoro said calmly while drinking beer. Yes, when the reputation of Corgi Kingdom's delicacies spread to the Grand Line, it attracted the attention of Anti, one of the 4 emperors. Because of its geographical location, it has strategic significance. Perhaps there is also a reason to please the 4 emperors' aunt. Being targeted by the kingdom of Germa in the northern Blue Sea. You all know the rest of the story. Maybe this is the tragedy of a weak country. Princess Morty may have thought of her own country, and suddenly said sadly. Corgia Palace, Queen's bedroom. After some intense exercise, Luffy raised his hands above his head, stretched, and relaxed all the muscles in his body. Queen Carmen was hiding under the quilt and would not come out. Only her messy pink hair was exposed. Luffy looked at the messy pink hair next to him. Be playful. Luffy deliberately kneaded it with his hands to make it even messier. Enjoy the smoothness of Queen Carmen's hair. Queen Carmen was stunned and protested with dissatisfaction. However, Queen Carmen did not lie. It's true that more than just hair is pink. Luffy personally verified it, and the character of Queen Carmen, how should I put it, feels like a corgi pet dog. When someone is not familiar with him, he will show his teeth and scare others. After getting really familiar with it, it actually likes to stick to its owner. As expected, she is the queen of the Corgi kingdom, and she has not run away. Luffy announced that Carmen will be his pet queen starting today. Oh, this is life. Luffy thought to himself, just when Luffy was enjoying the good life. Drop, drop, drop. It is the sound of system prompt. This sound is usually only made when the system rewards Luffy. Having said that, I haven't heard the system prompt for a while. Luffy thought this weird system was broken. If it's broken, it'll be broken. Anyway, Luffy thinks he can become stronger on his own. Optimistic Luffy thinks so. The system is settling. The system found that the upgrade requirements are met. System upgrade in progress. System upgrade completed. What? Will this thing be upgraded? No wonder, there has been absolutely no movement in the recent period. It turned out that I ran to break through. What are the conditions for upgrading? Luffy suddenly became curious. It's a pity that the system will not respond to Luffy's thoughts. Congratulations to host for marrying his wife and successfully getting pregnant. You have obtained the skill, Rubber Siege Cannon. Congratulations to the host for marrying his wife and successfully getting pregnant. You have obtained the skill, Rubber Spear Gun. Congratulations to the host for marrying his wife and successfully getting pregnant. You have obtained the skill, Rubber Storm. Congratulations to host for marrying your wife and successfully getting pregnant. You have obtained the skill, Rubber Seal Machine Gun. The first skill level is completed. Congratulations to host for marrying your wife and successfully getting pregnant. You have obtained the skill, Rubber Jet Whip. Congratulations to host for marrying your wife and successfully getting pregnant. You have obtained the skill, Rubber Jet Double Gun. Congratulations to host for marrying his wife and successfully getting pregnant. You have obtained the skill, Rubber Jet Bullets. Congratulations to host for marrying his wife and successfully getting pregnant. You have obtained the skill, Rubber Jet Tomahawk. Congratulations to host for marrying his wife and successfully getting pregnant. You have obtained the skill, Rubber Jet Missile. Indeed, Luffy can already use second gear. Apart from exercising with his wives, Luffy rarely uses first gear skills to fight enemies. But now, because Luffy's physique is not strong enough, the second block time is not long enough, so forcing it on will consume his life. Fortunately, I recently acquired a powerful thug, red-footed Zepp. Luffy seriously doubts that Zeppu has the strength to approach Shichibukai. Boss, there is no need to do it yourself. Congratulations to host for marrying his wife and successfully getting pregnant, your power +1. Congratulations to host for marrying his wife and successfully getting pregnant, your physical fitness +1. Congratulations to host for successfully marrying his wife and getting pregnant, your speed +1. Congratulations to host for marrying his wife and getting pregnant, your defense +1. Congratulations to host for marrying his wife and successfully getting pregnant, your charm +1. +1, +1, ... What happened? So many girls are pregnant all of a sudden. Luffy is a little confused. Have I been so active recently? Luffy lay on the bed, touching his chin with one hand, and rubbing Carmen's pink hair with the other, lost in thought. Luffy remembered. It's the Kanam Islands. Those big sisters are so enthusiastic. Now that I think about it, my days in Cocoa West Village and the Kanam Islands are endlessly memorable. There were more than 20 towns in the Kanam Islands. Luffy couldn't remember how many big sisters there were. It was the first time in his life that he was so popular. There should be more than 150, right? Maybe. I'm not sure. After all, it's unlikely that everyone will get pregnant in one happy affair, right? Luffy doesn't think his abilities are so heaven-defying. Forget it. Luffy counted on his fingers and found that he couldn't finish counting, so he decided not to count. It reminds me a bit of Queen Nokigao. The kingdom of Oikot is much larger than the kingdom of Corgi. Kokonoha Islands and Thizia Islands, Luffy hadn't visited them yet because he was on his way. I don't know how enthusiastic the big sisters there are. Luffy is in endless reverie. The system started making sounds again. Congratulations. Host unlocked. Princess Hunter title. Luffy's exclusive title. Host can wear this title. Effect, 10 charm bonus to the princess. Congratulations. Unlock host and get the title of Bragging King. Usopp's exclusive title allows teammates to wear this title. Effect, it can increase the physical fitness bonus by 10. Unlock. Properties panel. Host can now check his capabilities. Congratulations to host for marrying Queen Nakigao and successfully getting pregnant. Special reward Demon Sword Murasama. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.